We just got a bit of breaking news tonight. Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's been a staunch ally of President Donald Trump, recently has broken with him on health insurance subsidies and the Epstein files. Just announced within the last 10 minutes she is leaving Congress in the new year. Not retiring, not going to run for re-election. Leaving. She's out. January 5th, 2026.
I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much. And I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
Here's some tea for you. MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all of these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. Trump said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
National Guard deployment to D.C. has been ruled illegal. Let's go find some nasty girls.
Where's he at, Staff Sergeant? Your orders have been ruled illegal by a federal judge. Where is your officer? I'd like to talk to him.
Have you guys heard the good news? This National Guard deployment to D.C. has been ruled unconstitutional by a federal judge. You are currently violating the Constitution. It is a law now. Go take a knee. Stand up for your oath. You are here illegally. It has been ruled illegal by a federal judge. Do you have anything to say, Specialist? Do you guys have anything to say about this illegal occupation? Nothing. Nothing, Specialist. Did you vote for Donald Trump, Specialist? You guys are here illegally. It has been ruled by a court of law now. Stand down. What's up? What's up, bro? Say something. Nah, you ain't gonna say nothing to my face. God damn, boys, you're here illegally. A federal judge has ruled it. Go home. Go tell your lieutenant that you will not comply with these illegal orders. A federal judge has ruled that the National Guard deployment to D.C. is constitutionally illegal. Go home. Go tell your officer that your orders are illegal and you must stand down. Stand down now. Remember your oath, soldiers. It has been ruled by a federal judge that this deployment is illegal. Remember your oath. Please do the right thing. Go tell your fucking officer that you are here illegally and you refuse these orders. Stand down. Where's your officer? What do you got, a butter bar?
Ash Patel is a grifter. He's a freak show. He's a hypocrite. He is blessed, though. No person that incompetent can usually claim to have a deputy who is simultaneously dumber, crazier, and more incompetent. Dan Bongino. The dynamic duo of incompetence, of venality, and stupidity. It has been said by wiser people than me that there is someone for everyone. And if that is true at a gravitational level, then love has pulled these two together. A talentless singer who was told that she has something that she does not possess, and a grifter who now has a jet and a security entourage. It's like having a magic wand and a magic carpet all wrapped up together in one.
What will Donald Trump do when all this news is bad for him? When all anyone wants to talk about is his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and what exactly is in those files, when every headline and push alert shows him losing ground and losing support, including among some of his own supporters. Well, for starters, he tries to silence his critics. He starts lashing out at journalists, calling them names, as he did with 2 female reporters this week, calling one of them Piggy. He renews his calls to take away broadcast licenses from news outlets he doesn't like, as he did once again with ABC News this week. He even asks his billionaire buddies for help in silencing media he doesn't like. I mean, we just learned this week that the White House reportedly talked to billionaire Larry Ellison about taking over CNN and firing specific anchors. Trump doesn't want to have anchoring roles anymore. But when none of that works, when all of his threats and all of his bullying fails to stop the onslaught of negative headlines, Trump kind of has one tactic that he always falls back on. He does something that is completely outrageous and beyond the pale, in part to change the subject. And this time, Trump managed to find the perfect vehicle for his latest tantrum with the help of his old friends at Fox News. You see, last night, when most news outlets were focused on the breaking news that Congress had effectively forced Trump to sign the Epstein Files Transparency Act, Fox News ran cover for Trump with hysterical, wall-to-wall coverage of a very different story. The story that a group of Democrats made a video and posted it online. What was the video that caused so much outrage, you ask?
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
Members of Congress, all of whom are former military or CIA officers, reminding current service members of the fact that they do not have to follow illegal orders. They repeated that over and over again. Now, it's an incredibly strange thing for a news network to get so outraged about, or really for anyone to get outraged about. I mean, what is the alternative view here? That members of the military should follow unlawful orders? I mean, that's part of what they pledged not to do. But Donald Trump's response was dangerous and unhinged, even by Trump standards. I mean, this morning, Trump reposted a social media post from one of his supporters calling for all of the Democratic members in that video to be hanged. And as if Trump wanted to make sure there was no ambiguity about what he meant, he followed up with his own post. Seditious behavior punishable by death, just to really make crystal clear where he was coming from. That is how Donald Trump decided to try and change the subject, calling for his opponents to be strung up and killed.
I hope whoever blows your fucking brains out records it, because I would like to watch you stupid cunt. What a fucking loser you are. And Kelly and Slut Ken, you cunt. You deserve to die. I hope you all get murdered. I hope you all get fucking throat slashed.
You disgraced America, and I pray you die today, but not before your family does. I pray they die a painful death. Hey, have a blessed day. And if they do die today, rest assured I'll be in church this Sunday, because there is a God. Hurry up and die, you worthless fucking traitor.
scum. I hope somebody kills you and your whole family, an illegal alien. I hope they kill you and your whole family for you letting them in the country, you scummy bitch. You ain't an American fucker. You're a communist, you Jason Crow, you scummy little bitch.
Harry Enton is here on this special Friday. It's been a tough few days for the president in the polls.
Yeah, John Berman. I would say this is probably the worst 10-day period for the president in the polls his entire second term. The numbers are just atrocious. What are we talking about here in terms of net approval rating? Well, take a look. These are all November polls. The best one of the group puts him at 14 points underwater. That's the Marquette University Law School poll, tied for the worst he's ever had in that poll. Fox, 17 points underwater. Marist, 17 points underwater. The Reuters Ipsos poll, 22 points underwater. And then taking the cake, the AP North poll, 26 points underwater. When your best poll has you still 14 points underwater, you know it's truly bad, and it's as bad as 26 points underwater. We're talking about an average well underwater with the deep blue sea, swimming with the fishes.
And now this is all parties here. If you think this is bad, Harry.
If you think this is bad, what is driving these horrific numbers for Donald Trump? Well, why don't we take a look at independents, Trump's net approval rating with independents. Back in January, he was close to even. He was at -4 points. Not great, but not terrible. Look at this number. 43 points underwater with independents in the most recent average of these polls. When you have 43 points underwater with independents, you know you're doing terribly. You can't win with this. If this holds for next year's midterm election, wave adios amigos, goodbye, see you later to that House Republican majority and that Senate Republican majority very much in danger as well. When you take a look at the Pew Research validated voter survey going back to last year, he was basically even among independents with Kamala Harris. Now he is 43 points underwater. Whatever he is doing with independents, it ain't working. They despise him at this point.
That is just a colossal drop.
Oh, my God. It's a 40-point move.
Okay, that's among certain political groups here. How about what issues may be driving this?
Okay, yeah. So we say that independents are driving Trump's decline overall. But what is pushing independents and the rest of the electorate away from Donald Trump? Away from Donald Trump. John Berman, move out of this screen. Away from Donald Trump. Well, it has everything to do with inflation. It's the cost of living, baby. That is the name of the game. You go back to January, he was 3 points above water. This was the reason why that voters gave him a second term. You look at this. Look at this. Now, 34 points underwater. My goodness gracious, that is a 37-point move in the wrong direction.
All right.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh, yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Testing. Are we on? Let's see. Test. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Testing. Are we on? Let's see. Test. 1, 2. I just think. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Testing. Are we on? Okay, the microphone's on. I know, very professional. All right. Good morning, everybody. It is 11:29 a.m. Pacific Time Zone. In the Pacific Time Zone. Currently here in beautiful Las Vegas, we're sitting at a temperature of 62, a little bit warmer this morning. Our high is going to be 66, our overnight low 52 degrees. We've got Formula One tonight. I believe we are going to have a dry night, I believe. Yeah, dry night. For the race, it starts at 8 o'clock tonight, Pacific Time Zone, PM. So, yeah, there we go. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you. We got 31 watching, only 24 thumbs ups. Currently, we were acting like a bunch of low-life scumbag Republicans, guys. Is that how we want to live our lives? So we need to get those thumbs ups to at least a balanced budget and be more like good Democrats that I know we could be. Alrighty. So, yeah, I drove last night around all the craziness of F1, Formula One. It really does make it hard to get around. But it's kind of amazing how that $15 surcharge they add for all any rides that originate or end in the strip corridor. You get an extra $15 tacked on. So that really adds up. So it makes it kind of worth your while. That's why I'll be going out again tonight, because the surcharge is going on through Monday at noon. Noon Monday is when it stops on noon. So even though the race is tonight, and got the surcharge through Monday at noon. So that's kind of nice. Anyhow, thanks for being here. I see Paul Burrows, I think, was in there first. That's top of the morning to you. I'm not sure. Paul might be out working by now, but thanks for being here, Paul. MJ Daniel was in there. Says, yeah. MJ says, a Muslim as mayor of New York City does not bother me. Sucking up to the Muslim who killed an American journalist and who I think funded 9/11 in the White House does. Very well said. Very well said. I hear you. I hear you. Brooklyn SJU, a.k.a. Trixie LaRue, is here. Hey, Brooklyn, good to see you. Search for You is here. Search for You. It's here. Yeah, happy Saturday. Today is Saturday. Or Saturn Day, as I like to call it. I don't know. Michael McAndrews is here. Hey, Michael. Michael McAndrews is here. Thanks for popping on in. Who else we got in this here chat? Elton Gillespie is here. Says Sparklers assembling over here. How do y'all? Well, not very many of you. There's only 33 people. Why aren't there 1,500 to 2,000 of you in here? Huh? Jorgen Johansson's here. Says, okay, no show. Bye. Bye. Come on, Jorgen. You know better than that. You know better than that. I actually started the intro, I think, at like 10 after, so it wasn't that late. Or maybe it was 15 after. DPD 5844 is here. Hey, DPD, good to see you. Josh C's, always good to see Josh C's in the chat. There's Jolie. We've got Jolie. Hello, Jolie. Thanks for being here. Derek 209 is here. Hello, Derek. Derek 209. Sandy Foltz is here. Hey, Sandy. Good to see Sandy. Hope you're feeling better. I know you've been having some health issues, so I hope you're doing better or getting that taken care of. Chris Doug is here. Hey, Chris Doug. Good to see you. Says Ding Dog the Witch is resigning. Yeah. And the thing about, I saw an interesting post. I think it was, what are they called? Kristen Stan Brothers or whoever it was. And they had an interesting post. They said that MTG has been in for 6 years now. She's timing her retirement at January 5th because that is right at the date that she needs to get to get, I guess, her lifelong. They give her a lifelong pension, retirement pension from Congress. I guess you have to serve 6 years or something. So so that's what it is. So that's her target date. 6 years, bam, she gets her fucking pension. Plus, she gets all the millions of dollars that she's made from insider trading, and she's going to walk away much wealthier than she was when she went in there. And basically, that's it. She's like, I'm out. I'm going to cash out. I'm going to get my pension, and walk away with millions of dollars. And so don't let it fool you. She's just no better than any of the rest of them. But it is also a thing of the rats jumping the sinking ship. The ship is sinking. Trump is sinking, and he's taking them down with him, which is a good thing for us, right? I'll drink to that. You saw his poll numbers are just in the absolute toilet, and I'm all for it. Now there is the Democratic challenger to MTG's seat is now. I mean, she's not going to be there, so it's a whole different dynamic now. Now it's going to be a whole new field of new, I guess, Republicans running, and well, I guess they're going to have a special. Are they going to have a special election? Because I think she just got reelected, didn't she? So I guess they're going to have the special election now. I don't think I have to wait until, unless she was up in 2026, huh? Yeah, because it's every 2 years. So I guess she would have been up in 2026 anyhow. So, but I guess they might have to have a special election since she's retiring in January. So just think now she's going to cause the state to spend the money to do a special election for someone that's going to hold the seat for 8 months or whatever, 9 months, and then they're going to have the regular election. That's why when I heard last night, I was driving and the news came on the radio, and it said MTG is resigning, or I guess they said is resigning her seat. She's stepping down. Or whatever. I was just like, what? I was like, wow, that really did kind of throw me for a loop. I didn't see that coming. I really didn't see that coming. Because I thought she was, really gunning for a Senate seat, or some people said governor of Georgia. She might still. Who knows? I mean, I guess she could resign. Sometimes people come back. So, not that I want her to. Not that I'm like, oh, I hope she comes back. I mean, I say good riddance, but as we always kind of ponder, I guess, when we get rid of one of these assholes, who's gonna replace him? Is it gonna be someone worse? It's like when Trump's gone, who's gonna replace Trump for the Republicans? Is it gonna be someone worse? God forbid. But anyhow, she's leaving. Oh, I was gonna say, so there is, and I forgot the guy's name. That's running, the Democrat that's going to be running. Ashley Dent, maybe, or something. Dent. It's a guy. I know I said Ashley. Maybe it's not Ashley. It's a guy. Guys can be named Ashley, I suppose. Hey, man, this is the new whole world here. We don't have gender specific names anymore, apparently. But whatever it is, I highly recommend everyone supporting this Democrat in MTG's old district there. One way or the other, even if it's not monetarily, you can support just by learning the name, first of all, which is on my list, and promoting them, and by sharing and liking. And you can do that same thing with this channel. You can like and share and promote my channel. See, that's what it's all about, man. It's likes and subscribes and hyping. We have a hyping thing. Anyhow, MTG's out. She's gone. She's leaving. She's going to get her nice little pension, and she's going to get several millions of dollars that she's gained through, as that Kristen, what's his name, whatever that guy's name is, alleges through insider trading. We have to say allege because we don't know for sure. We don't want to get sad. Sandy Foltz says, "Please keep me in your prayers. I'm having some health issues." Yeah, I mentioned that, and I hope you're feeling better. I hope you get well soon. So yeah, certainly, Sandy Foltz, you're in our hearts and in our thoughts and prayers. DPD says, "I thought I was the only one who decorated for Christmas." Yeah, MTG, she had her tree up there and everything. She's all Christmassy. She's all Christmassy already. Brooklyn says, "You go tell the truth, AOC." I love AOC. She's just awesome. I hope she runs for Senate in, I guess, 2026, right? So I hope she just, the best case scenario would be Chuck Schumer, you retire. Thank you very much for your service. You've been in there long enough. It's time to let, the younger generations come up. And so if he just says, "I'm not running, I'm retiring," and then AOC runs and gets the seat, that would be the best case scenario. I don't know if she would primary him if he stays in. Maybe she would. I don't know. Maybe she would. I'm not so sure if she should. But maybe she should. Push the old bastard out, I mean, what are you clinging on for, Chuck Schumer? You're in your 80s. You've made all the money you're going to make. You've done all the things you're going to do. Maybe he needs to be pushed out. Some people just need that push to go on to the next chapter of their life, Lady Jocka, otherwise known as Karen Ames from the Victor Valley, is here. Hey, Karen, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you. Mozart, too, is here. Hey, Mozart. Good to see you. Whenever I see Mozart 2 in here, I think of Almaday on my iPad. But I never know if that's an iPad thing or if that's an internet thing. Oh, it does say transmission is unstable due to weak network connection. I don't know why. Why am I getting a weak network connection? Well, hopefully we're not too bad of a signal for you guys. You deserve better. You deserve a good signal. But let me know in the chat if you're seeing any choppiness or buffering or anything like that. Things of this nature. If there are things of this nature, let me know. Somebody walked by my window. David Dog says, "The YouTube live sucked, but I did get a lot of regular video, lots of editing to do." Damon Dog, the big dog, is here. Damon was in Washington. Are you still in Washington? It's only Saturday. You must still be in Washington, right? Check out Damon Dog out there protesting him and Jolly. Just kidding. I don't even know if Jolly was there. Alrighty. Who else is in this chat room? We got Doug 7334. She's the pipe bomber. That's right. That seems like that whole thing kind of went away. That story went away. And I was just thinking of the other day when she was, again, sticking up for the survivors of the Epstein survivors, and she really was like I said, she had this glow about her. She seemed really happy. She found a cause that really made her feel happy. Instead of just being an evil cunt, excuse my language, excuse my French, she got behind something that was really worthwhile and it was a just thing. And you can see the difference in her, I think, her demeanor and her look and just everything about her. But then I started thinking like, wait a minute. Weren't a lot of people saying that she was the one that planted the pipe bombs and everything? Where'd that go? That just disappeared, didn't that whole story just disappeared? I guess maybe there's just no way of proving it, so it went away, But yeah, don't forget that MTG is neck deep in being just an awful person. But maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe there's redemption somewhere. Maybe, I don't know. I did skip down a little bit here. Karen Ames says it was good seeing Hal today. Yeah, Hal was on. It was good to see him. And you know, it's a tough thing going through a parent's death, and he's been going through it. So, wow, it's Fancy's here. Hey, Fancy, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. I do appreciate you coming on in. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. We got 42 watching, only 34 thumbs ups, and I really don't like it. It makes me want to go take a quick shower to rinse off the republicanism that's going on in here right now. We're operating at a deficit, like really slimy, sleazy Republicans. Let's get more democratic, act like Democrats, and let's get to at least a balanced budget on those thumbs up, preferably a surplus. William's here. Hey, William, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you being here, hanging out with us for a little bit. We're just going to hang out for a little bit, and then I'm going to go hit the road. Jorgen Johansson says, who cares? They're fucking inbreeds. Too many marriages between cousins in a row. Are we talking about maggots in general? Or probably? I don't know. Karen Ames needs more coffee. More coffee. More coffee. Catherine's Leaping Lemurs is here. Hey, Catherine, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Roxanne79's here. Hey, Roxanne79. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for coming on in to the driver's lounge. Oh, thank you. Petrazi 1920's here. Hey, Petrazi. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Hanging out. Let's hang out. Let's have a hangout. Let's have a good hang. Good hang. Now, I didn't download or save any memes today. I might have to recycle an old one. Let's see. What do I got? What do I got that we can put up here? You know, I've got your standard fuck Trump. I've got your thing, the MAGA acronym standing for molesting adolescent girls, something. I've got a AOC meme. I've got the thing about Article 2, Section 4 Constitution. If the president is impeached for treason, it does say that in this meme, so it must be true, that the vice president and civil officers shall be removed. At that one. Which one should I pop in there? Should I pop in a meme? Some people don't even like the memes. Some of y'all don't even like them. So I don't know what to tell you. Maybe in honor of the Zoran Mamdani Mamdani visit with Trump. I wish I had that. I didn't download that, but we could put Mamdani up there for a little bit. What the hell? Yeah, this is from when he won. When he won the election. So yeah, we'll put that up. No, I'll change it to something else. Belfast Bob, love the roar of F1s. It is pretty cool, and I've noticed this because this is the third year now that I've been here. It's the third year that the Grand Prix has been in Vegas, Formula One Grand Prix, and I've been working on all three of them. And even though I don't get to see the race or even the cars that much. Just hearing them go by at 200 plus miles an hour, and there's just something exciting about it. I could totally see how you could totally get into it and be a fan of the sport. It's just something that's kind of exciting. And I would love to instead of working, I would love to be able to afford to take the night off and actually get a ticket and go inside and watch the race and be part of the festivities. It's very festive. It's very cool. But alas, I am working at night, trying to take people to and fro about their places they need to go. Roxanne, who are those threats for? To tell the truth, I don't know exactly. Roxanne is referring to the intro that those recordings, like those voicemails or whatever. If you guys watch the intro, I really don't know, but I put it in there because I think it's indicative of what happens, what these people do. These right wingers. These are right wingers. They're talking about God and church, and then they're saying that shit. Like, I hope you're murdered, and I hope your whole family's murdered. I hope they record it because I would like to watch it. I'd really love to see you getting murdered. And excuse me, Pastor, what was that? They're probably recording it in the fucking church. I mean, that's how fucking sick and twisted these motherfuckers are. And the reason I put that in there because those are indicative of what AOC gets, Jasmine Crockett gets, Eric Swalwell gets. All of them. You can name it right down the list. And now MTG is getting threats like that. I don't know if those were hers. I don't think they were. But the point is, MTG for the last 6 years has been harassing people like David Hogg, who was a school shooting victim or survivor. I guess we're saying survivor now. For some reason, victim's a bad word. But anyhow, I digress. All the shit that she spews, all of her fucking hate and bigotry and misogyny, I guess maybe misogyny too, but everything that she's been spewing for these last close to 6 years or whatever. And but now when she kind of goes against Trump, very much goes against Trump and wants to release the Epstein files, and she's there for sticking up for the survivors, and she's had this breakaway. She's getting those threats. And it's from the right. It's not from the left. It's from the righties. This is what they do. They resort to violence. They go right to the violence. And people like Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the ones that would say that this is what lefties do. This is what liberals do. This is what the Democrats do. But no, it's not. It's your own people, MTG. These are your people. Now, again, those recordings, I don't know who those were. I really don't. I just found it. I just saw it. I don't even know who those were exactly directed to. But the point is that's what these fucking maggots and right wingers, these right wing nut jobs, that's what they do. And you can see it. A great example of how they'll turn on someone. They turned on MTG as soon as she wasn't exactly on board with them, and she says some things that they don't like, then boom, she starts getting these threats. So that's why I popped that in there as an example of the type of threats that anyone that the right wingers, these nut jobs don't like, that's what they'll do. And like I said, one guy was talking about church and God, and he's like, and I hope you get murdered. I mean, what the fuck? You're supposed to be a God-fearing, God-loving Christian, Bible-loving. I was always taught when I went to church that Jesus is love. Love your neighbor. Love thy neighbor. Turn the other cheek. If someone slaps you in the face, turn the other cheek and let them have that one too. But they've abandoned all that shit. They've abandoned all the love shit, and no, it's all Old Testament shit. They've pretty much abandoned the New Testament. They're all going back to the Old Testament, the old eye for an eye. And it's not even eye for an eye. I mean, it's just because no one's taken their eye, you know. But it's ridiculous, and it's hypocritical, and they should be ashamed to call themselves Christians. Because if Christ was real and he did come down and come back or whatever, he would not recognize them. By recognize them, I mean he would not recognize them as being followers of him. He would be like, "Who are you?" In my opinion, what do I know? Josh says, "I think yesterday was a new record for a late start. Maybe, probably. That was almost 2 hours late, I think. So yeah, Josh, I would say you're probably right. That probably was the record. I guess David Weiss from Denver is here. Or did I skip David? I think I did, but I think David's here. So hello, David. Hello, David. Karen Ames says, I just wish MAGA nuts would just crawl back under the rocks they came from. Yeah, kind of, but then also it's kind of good to have them exposed so we know who they are, you know, I guess. DPD says today is the 62nd anniversary of the assassination of JFK. Yes, it is. And November 22nd. And it's kind of weird how I didn't see any mentions of that when I was going around looking for clips. Whereas when I grew up, of course, it was a lot closer to the assassination, but 60s and 70s, but even into the early 2000s or something, this day was a somber day, and you would see all kinds of like clips from the Zapruder film, you know, and all that shit popping up. You'd see all kinds of Kennedy shit, and I didn't see anything. And the reason I know that one of the reasons I know that this is the day Kennedy was killed, JFK was assassinated, because it's also my parents' wedding anniversary. My two, you know, deceased parents, they're deceased now, just so you know, we don't need to start sending congratulations or anything. But this is their wedding anniversary, and so we always, you know, it was always, you know, hey, happy anniversary, Mom and Dad, and then at some point, it seems like my mom would always go, yeah. And this is the day Kennedy was shot or something, you know. I don't know. It always would come up in some way. It seemed like eventually that in the conversation. So yeah, happy anniversary to my mom and dad up in heaven. Happy God, what would this be? This would be the 66th anniversary, I believe. Happily, what do people say? Like happily, heavenly anniversary or something. Yeah. Like was like a dead, like when people wish a dead person happy birthday, they'll go happy heavenly birthday. But so happily heavenly anniversary. And I look up because heaven is up. We know heaven's up, hell's down. Let's see who else we got. We got Michael McAndrews says, I remember the day it happened. My mom was on her knees in front of the black and white TV. Me and my lunchbox after school. JFK had been shot. I was only 3, I think, when it happened, right? I was 3. I just turned 3 a month earlier. So I don't remember it. But I do remember, like, the entire 60s was just rife, is that the word? Full of assassinations, political assassinations. And JFK was certainly in the news all the time. I always describe it as the ghost of JFK really lingered and hovered over everything for a decade at least, you know. And then his brother, a few years later, his brother was assassinated, and of course MLK was assassinated. You know, you had Malcolm X assassinated, but to be quite honest, I didn't even hear of that when I was a little kid. I didn't even know who Malcolm X was, but I knew who MLK was. It's funny. I when MLK Jr. We didn't call him. I don't remember calling him Jr. back in the day, but anyhow, when MLK was shot, I was very sad because I remember listening to MLK's speeches on the radio as like a 7 and 8-year-old. And when RFK Jr. Not Jr. When RFK was assassinated, I saw that. I watched that on the news. I was watching the news when that broke, and I was just like, And I remember being like really sad about that because I remember watching the campaigns and I liking Robert Kennedy and as an 8-year-old or whatever, like 7, 8-year-old, I was like, man, he's cool. I like him. I hope he wins. I hope he wins the president. And then he got assassinated. I remember that when that story broke that night from him being in L.A. And I remember they talked about Rosie Greer was there, and I remember, I knew who Rosie Greer was because even as a 7 and 8-year-old, I was already a Rams fan. And Rosie Greer, for those of you that don't know, who don't pay attention to sports, Rosie Greer was a defensive, not offense. He was a defensive lineman for the part of the fearsome foursome of the L.A. Rams, and he was there the night that RFK got killed, and so they mentioned him because I think he's in a lot of the pictures. He's right there as RFK is bleeding to death. And I remember watching all that shit, and certainly JFK's assassination. It was still top of mind. I think, along with the Vietnam War, all that shit was going on in the 60s. The 60s was crazy. I still think the 60s, we talk about now and how things are crazy now with Trump. It's kind of a whole different dynamic, I guess, a whole different type of thing. But the 60s were fucking crazy. I mean, it was in a way kind of scary. Not that I was living my life like all scared all the time, but it was kind of scary, and it was kind of just a lot of wild shit going on. Like the Vietnam War was in the news every night. Body counts, seeing news footage of people getting blown up and body bags and taken out, and Walter Cronkite with the body counts every night in the news, every night at dinner, watching that. And then we went through this whole series of these assassinations: JFK, RFK, MLK, and then the protests broke out and the peace protest and all that. It was a wild, wild time. The 60s in my life, I think, has probably been the most wildest, craziest decade of my life, and that was my first decade. But not that there's not crazy shit going on all through the rest of the time, but it was just so much going on in the 60s, so much change and going. It was wild, man. And I was just a little kid. I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I can remember seeing this shit, mainly in the news, watching the news and stuff, and listening to these on the radio. I remember listening to MLK speeches on the radio. I remember listening to RFK when he was campaigning in '68 for president. I remember seeing him on TV or hearing him on the radio a lot. And JFK, the JFK assassination, even though I don't remember it, I almost feel like I was. Well, I was alive when it happened, but I almost feel like I remember it happening, but I don't. I was 3, but I can remember every year on the anniversary of his assassination, they would play the fucking Zapruder film on TV. Like they would just play it. I must have seen that thing a dozen times or more in the 60s. And now you can't even find it. I think they buried it. I think they made it illegal to watch. I don't know. Petrozzi says, I'll believe it when she leaves in January. She's a liar. So, but why would she lie about that? I mean, what's the point of coming out with that lie? I'm not sure why I don't know what that would serve. Belfast Bob, I didn't get notification from YouTube. Roxanne just caught as me mom had emergency hernias, so. Well, Belfast Bob, I hope your mom's doing better. Hope she's gonna be okay. Guys, you guys are awesome. We got 39 watching and 39 thumbs ups. That means we are operating like good Democrats. Thank you very much. We are at a balanced budget. I love to see that. Actually, I'd love to see a surplus, but anyhow. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share, and hype. Hit that hype button. We can hype the show. Are you guys familiar with the hype button? It's on there. It's on the I think it's on your comment thing, and you can just slide to the left, and then the hype thing comes up, and just hit that hype button and get us out in that algorithm. Olga Gillespie says she was targeted for defeat by Trump. Yeah, I mean, I guess she saw that maybe she just felt like she had no chance of winning because Trump put the hex on her, the Trump hex. And she's like, I'm out. But very conveniently, just long enough to get her fucking lifelong pension. Which I guess is pretty good. I guess I don't know if they get their full salary or what they get. I don't know. Healthcare for life. Deputy 5844 says, and Titina Schlossberg announced she has terminal leukemia. How profoundly sad. She's 34 years old. She found out after giving birth to her second child, and yet RFK continues causing destruction and harm. Didn't Schlossberg just win an election or something? And she's got terminal leukemia. That is very sad. She's only 34. That is very, very sad. And she's a mom. Wow. Yeah, that is really, really sad news. Yeah, and then fucking worm brains over there who is spouting all this lying bullshit about vaccines causing autism and all this bullshit and changing the CDC language, around and putting really just garbage, just lies about vaccines on the CDC website. And we're seeing outbreaks now of measles and whooping cough and polio's coming back. Shit we haven't dealt with for fucking 80 years. And now this motherfucker. So RFK Jr. I would love to see him just spend the rest of his life in prison. He's going to be responsible for. He's already responsible for deaths, unnecessary deaths. There are deaths and illnesses that are going to occur that don't need to, because we have the vaccines for them. And now people are going to get sick with this, and they're going to be very sick and dealing with that for the rest of their lives, and many of them are going to die from it, from not having these vaccines made available, or putting you're making them difficult to get, and then putting out this information that a lot of people will go, oh well, the CDC director said that these are bad or whatever, and people will believe that shit. So RFK Jr. is very, very dangerous and detrimental. He is definitely a clear and pleasant, not pleasant. He's not a pleasant danger. He's a clear and present danger, RFK Jr. And he should be locked up, and they should throw away the fucking key on that motherfucker, as far as I'm concerned. Marsha Jones here. Marsha says, my Christmas tree up in the loft. Hey, Marsha, good to haven't brought it down yet, huh? David Dog, I rode from Lincoln Memorial to Congress. Awesome. If you're posting videos on that, I'm gonna have. I can't wait to check them out. David Dog in Washington D.C. Rock says I had to refresh. It's not glitchy anymore. So I guess it was buffering a bit. Hopefully it's not anymore. I know these that I'm reading are 20 minutes ago. Karen Ames says MTG is leaving without her pardon. So she could still be on the hook for those planting those bombs. Oh, Brooklyn says truck is 75. Oh, thanks for the update. Thanks for the correction, Brooklyn. I thought we said he was 80 something. But in any case, I think he should step down. I think he's done enough. He's done enough. I think it's time, Chucky. 75 is a good time for you to retire. You look like you're pretty healthy still for your age. You can go and you can fucking enjoy your fucking life. Retire and go enjoy your retirement while you've got some good mobility left in you, for Christ's sakes. AOC is more than ready and able to take over your duties, motherfucker. Chris Duck says MTG and her crooked husband got $183,500 in PPP loans. I thought she got more than that were forgiven. How much did you get, truckers? I thought she got like a $1 million or $3 million one or something. Maybe she had to pay that one back. I don't know. Chris Doug says David Hogg will have the last laugh when he is elected to Congress. Yeah. Yeah, Brooklyn says MTG is a BBBBB as per Jasmine Crawford. Yeah, it was like I can't even remember what it was. Bitch body. I remember something about a bitch. Bitch body, bad body, something like that. Hey, Golf Marine, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. Golf Marine says, hey guys, TJ, don't feel like the Lone Ranger. I got to figure my way out of homelessness soon too. Well, I'm not homeless anymore. In fact, I never really was homeless, actually. But yeah, I never was homeless. I managed to keep a roof over my head. But go for rain. I'm sorry to hear that, though. I hope you can get the shelter. Marshall Jones, it's called karma. DPD karma is a bitch, and MTG is finding out. Yeah, it's called karma, but still, it's still an example of what they do, of what these right-wing nut jobs, how they react to anyone that they don't like, anyone who says something a little different, and it's like, I hope you get your brains blowed out. Oh, just a second, I got to put some money in the offering. Where was I? Oh yeah, fuck you, you cunt. I could just imagine they're doing those from the fucking pews of their church. That's how sick and twisted and demented they are. Marshall Jones, they'd deport Jesus. They'd deport him right on out of here, wouldn't they? Mr. Spock, I thought TJ was on time. I was pretty much on time, yeah. Pretty close enough. Josh sees Marsha. They see him walking on water and call in an airstrike. You guys are funny. Here's Johnny. Honey, I'm home. Richard from Down Under, our expat from Down Under, is here. Good to see you, Richard. William says, I lean toward the mob hut theory. So we're talking about JFK, back to JFK there. Yeah, I don't know. It's all fishy. It's still fishy, no matter what anyone says. I don't know if Lee Harvey Oswald actually got the shot off and actually hit his target. I don't know if it was someone on the grassy knoll. I don't know if it was fucking Woody Harrelson's father. I don't know who did it, but it's all fucking fishy. That JFK and RFK, who was JFK's attorney general, they came out and said, we're coming after the military industrial complex. We're shutting that shit down, and we're not going to escalate into Vietnam and all this shit. And then next thing you know, JFK gets his brains blown out. And 4 years later, his brother, who's running for president, and looks like he's going to win, and he's doing very well anyhow, gets his fucking shot in the head. But, so all I know is that's fishy to me. I don't know who's behind it. I don't know who did it exactly. I don't know if we got the true story. It's all I know is it's fucking fishy. It's fishy. All right? It's fucking fishy. Rox 1SMF is here. Which Rox are you now? We've got so many Roxes. But hello, Rox 1SMF. Thanks for being here. I'm that icon there looks familiar, so I know we've seen you. Just the at names can kind of throw you. But thank you, Rox 1SFMF, for being here. Good to see you. Peter G 200 LBFP says Rosie Greer is still alive. I wasn't sure. It says still alive at 93. Well, good on him. Good on Rosie Greer. Great all-time Rams great defensive lineman. William says Jack Ruby had connections with Carlos Marcello. Yeah, and then Jack Ruby, they're like, you gotta do something. You gotta do this. And he's like, oh, I guess I gotta do it, because otherwise you guys will kill me. And he goes and fucking shoots Lee Harvey Oswald, kills him, shuts his ass up. Apparently, for some reason. Probably because he would just go, I didn't do it. Or whatever, I don't know. Luck Dragon says, hey, mama, say the way you move. Gonna make me sweat, gonna make me groove. Hi, mama, the way I see your honey drip while you sneak away. I don't know. I don't know why I did that. Rox 1 SMF $700. I had to finance it. I don't know. I'm mid-thread. I don't know what you financed. Karen Name says, now you have your regular name. Her Rox 1 SMF. What? Mine is screwed up all over. Richard says the Zapruder film was altered. Boy. Yeah. The conspiracy theories are going to just roll on in, aren't they? Roxanne got a van for $700? I wish I could find a van for $700. Guys. Golf Marine says that guy sounded a little like Don Jr. Luck Dragon says, I grew up in a generation when only the cool kids were doing cocaine, and it took a first lady named Nancy to tell them to stop. Just say no. Just say no. Richard says, I was in high school in Palo Alto when JFK was shot. I guess I was still in diapers. I don't know. I don't know when. I really don't know what age I was potty trained, to tell the truth. I don't know. I'm hoping at 3 I was out of diapers. I think I was probably out of diapers. I hope so. I know my kids were. They were out of diapers at 2. 1.5, 2. They were already like potty trained. But so I'm hoping I was. I don't know. Roxanne got a 2016 Dodge Caravan for $700. Wish I could find a deal like that, as long as it would get me to work and back. You know. Alrighty. Just looking down here at the chat rooms. The chat room. Golf Marine says I have a 99 CRV with 120,000 miles on it for sale, $2,500. If I had $2,500, I'd maybe take you up on it. William says, "What's the deal with RFK Jr. and Cheryl Hines?" I don't know, but it just kind of shows what poor taste Cheryl Hines has in marrying the guy. I don't know what's happening. The latest, I don't know if they're on the outs or whatever. But DBD 5844 says Tatiana is the granddaughter of JFK. She chose today of all days to publicly to announce her diagnosis. Oh. Wow. God, that is such a sad story, though. That is so sad. Catherine Sleeping Lemurs 79 says I had a little BF named Bobby at less than 3 years old, and it seems so sad to lose someone with the same name. But I understood the assassinations were terrible in a serious adult way too. All right, I'm skipping down in the chat, in the chat rooms. MJ Daniel said, have to ask MAGA why they hate for the legally elected mayor of New York City simply because he is Democratic and Muslim, yet seem to be fine with bin Salman getting the Bubba treatment in the White House. I guess because if Trump likes them, then they're going to like him. I guess. I don't know. Roxanne, or Rox1SMF says, my late maggot uncle called Swalwell all sorts of foul names. Richard thinks Gavin Newsom would make a great POTUS. I do too. I share that sentiment. I think there's quite a few people that would make great presidents. And I think Gavin Newsom is one of them. Sandy Foltz says the Grand Prix was in Niagara Falls years ago. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Jolie's laughing at. I don't know. It's so tiny. I can't see if is that a emoji thingy or whatever you call it. I can't even see what it is because it's so tiny. But Jolie got a laugh out of it. Marshall Jones says the talking about who assassinated JFK. Marshall says was Ted Cruz dad, according to Trump. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that when he said that. DPD 5844 says, did anyone hear that JD Smokey Eye Vance texted Bezos wanting him to hire so-called reporters from Breitbart, turning the Washington Post in an even greater right-wing news outlet? I didn't hear that. I'm not surprised. The thing that I'm mainly surprised at is that there's Breitbart reporters. I didn't even know they were still around. You know, I haven't heard Breitbart in forever. They're still around? Are they relevant at all? Are they even relevant? I just lost my place in the damn chat. See Mr. Spock talking about chickens. I think I went too far back, I think. Because now we're talking about Damon Dog's bike. That was way back. Yeah, we got the JFK conspiracy theories. Like I said, I don't know who did it. I don't know if any of the conspiracy theories are true or not. All I know is it's fucking very, very fucking fishy. Very fucking fishy of why those two guys were eliminated. They were taken off the board. And they were staunch opponents of the military-industrial complex. So, connect the dots, man. Connect those dots. Like I said, I don't know if any of the conspiracy theories that we've ever heard are even true. I have no idea. Some of them sound very plausible, but they all have, I think, they all have gaps or that where you can't connect. There's always something that falls apart, I think, in these conspiracy theories that I've heard. But all I know is something's fucking fishy about it. Something's wrong. Something doesn't smell right. Marcia says it's all fishy. We may never know. Yep, we may never know. I think you're right. We may never know. Richard says Kirk Douglas lived to be 103. Is it true that William Shatner just turned 100? I saw a meme, and I don't know if these memes are fake or whatever, but apparently, maybe William Shatner may have just turned 100. So good on him. Rox1SF says my mom will be 92 in February. Congratulations. I mean, she's not there yet, but early congratulations. Just congratulations on making it a 91, for crying out loud. Chris Doug says suggested reading about JFK assassination is JFK and Vietnam, Deception, Intrigue, and the Struggle for Power by John M. Newman. No relation. All right, I'll put that in my my still trap of a brain there. But that's good. Thanks for the recommendation. That sounds like it might be a good read, and it talks about some of the stuff I talk about. Marshall Jones, they call it the Kennedy curse. I know, because they keep fucking dying. JFK Jr. in the horrible plane crash, which may or may not have been some people think that was a murder. There's conspiracies about that someone rigged the plane or whatever. Yeah. But it's not just a curse. There's something. I think it's more related to them going after the military industrial complex, the military contractors, basically. That, they're like, you're not taking away our fucking gravy train, motherfuckers. Brooklyn says, TJ, is bug problem better? Well, I don't know. Because this morning, when I was making my coffee, a little tiny bug came out from underneath the coffee machine. So, I don't know. Maybe about the same? I mean, it's definitely better than it was, a month ago. Or a couple months ago. Remember that there was one day when literally I told you like a fucking herd of roaches must have been going through, making their way through, because they were like everywhere on the walls and the floors, and that was I guess 6 weeks ago. I don't know. So it's definitely better than that. Now I just see the occasional one, and like this morning I saw that one underneath that came crawling out. It was a little tiny one. And some of you guys tell me that those are baby cockroaches. They're so tiny I can't even tell what they look like. I just know they're little black, little tiny things. But I did put my combat traps out. Hopefully that will work. I don't know. I just did that probably about like 24 hours ago. Where I put those out, and so we'll see how they do. The Soulcraft, hey Soulcraft, welcome to the chat room. Thanks for being here. Soulcraft says Newsom reminds me a little of Ted Kennedy, aka Lion of the Senate. Actually, maybe not so much lately, but it seems like a couple years ago or a year ago or whatever, whenever I would see Gavin Newsom, he just reminded me of a younger version of Joe Biden. I remember going, God damn it, this is what Joe Biden would be if he was 20 years younger or whatever. We would have this, we'd have that, but sort of like more slicker, faster talker, really on top of his game type of a thing. And that's who Newsom was reminding me of. It was a young Joe Biden, younger Joe Biden. I never really got a Ted Kennedy vibe out of it, though, to tell the truth. Now, the thing that reminded me of Ted Kennedy the other day, there was somebody who reminded me of Ted Kennedy. It reminded me of some of Ted Kennedy's impassioned, is that the word? Impassioned? Some of his speeches, on the Senate floor that are legendary now. And there was somebody I was watching the other day. It wasn't quite to that level, but it just reminded me of Ted Williams, of Ted Kennedy. And I don't remember who it was now. But I did get a Ted Kennedy vibe out of someone the other day. Catherine's Leaping Loomer 79 says, "Thank you, TJ. I didn't expect you to read that." And I don't even remember what I read now. Richard says CIA and Mafia killed JFK. Well, we don't know. We don't have any proof of that. There's conspiracy theories, and some of them make pretty good sense, I think, some of them. But I think when you really get into them, they all start to fall apart. I think every single conspiracy theory, once I've read books. I went through this whole thing after the JFK movie came out, the Oliver Stone JFK movie came out. I went on this thing where I went and bought books and read about 6 or 7 books this fucking thick on their theories of the JFK assassination. And all of them had good points, but to me, they all fell apart. Or at least weren't conclusive. Nothing's conclusive. We can speculate CIA and the mob all we want, but until we get actual proof, hard evidence, then it's all going to be speculation. But I do think that we can always say something was up, something was fishy. I don't think it was just the lone gunman, Lee Harvey Oswald, was just like. But who knows? Actually, I mean, who the fuck knows? People are fucking crazy. There are lone gunmen that just fucking want to shoot somebody just because they're feeling bad, so they want everyone else to feel bad or something. They're fucking sick in the head. Love Dragon says Mark Kelly 2028. As far as I'm concerned, he could pick a monkey for vice president. Hell, I would vote for a monkey for president over what we got now. Marsha Jones says Elvis is still alive somewhere. Some people say that. Chris Lex says Captain Kirk is 94. Okay, so the meme was bullshit. I'm glad I didn't post it. I'm glad I just scrolled on by because I didn't think he was 100. I really didn't think it, but it said like he's 100. It showed a very bad photoshopped his head on someone else's body holding a cake that said 100, happy 100th birthday or whatever. I thought it was all suspect. So at least give me credit for that. That it was sus. Is that what the kids say? It was sus. DPD 5844 says, yes, they are, TJ. Drunk Pete has ruled that Breitbart, Fox, OAN, and Newsmax are the only so-called news outlets. That's our servicemen and women that our servicewomen can view. And Shatner is 94 years old. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, Breitbart, good old Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart, the fucking coke fiend, the fucking cokehead that got so coked out his heart exploded. So, and I hope he's burning in hell too, right next to Rush Limbaugh and Hitler. Apparently, I don't know. DBD, does anyone believe in the Illuminati? No. It's horseshit. It's just more things invented with people with imagination, very imaginative minds, I guess. But we're always trying. But we need to find answers, and we can't find answers, so we make up things like the Illuminati. Luck Dragon says Mark Kelly is a national hero kind of guy, like Bruce Willis in the movie We Die Hard. Was that one of the movies? I lost track really. After Die Hard 1, I didn't really like any of the sequels. Die Hard, the original Die Hard, is one of my favorite all-time movies. The sequels, not so much. But that would be a great name for one of the sequels. We Die Hard. No. We Die Hard, motherfucker. That would be a great name for a sequel. Rox1 SMF says, my mom is on my channel speaking her mind about the president. That's good. Josh C says, I'd like to see Newsom debate Raskin in a primary. Do you think Raskin's going to run? Is Jamie running? Or is Jamie crying? Well, we're going to see him debate someone. I don't know if Raskin's running, but we'll see. We're going to see some debates in 2027, probably, or at least 2028. Probably early 2028. Maybe the debates will start. And we'll whoever's running, there'll be some people on that debate stage. Maybe Hal Sparks will be up there. I'm going to skip that one, Luck Dragon. Deputy 5044 J. Edgar Hoover. Don't know why that name got thrown out there. I mean, I know he was, besides being, I guess, closeted gay and apparently a cross-dresser, which are two different things, I think. Very, I think, very much the racist, and they really went after MLK, bugging his phones, threatening him, like extorting him and all this kind of shit. So, yeah, J. Edgar Hoover, not really a good dude, and he was the head of the FBI for decades. Roxanne, one SMF, I think I'm going to start ranting on my channel. That's the great thing when you have your channel. You can go into a rant. Sometimes I do that. And it feels good. Sometimes it feels good to get a good rant going. All right, so I am going to skip down a little bit. Brooklyn SJU says the combat traps are the best. I lived in an apartment building. As soon as my baby would drop a bit of food from the high chair, they would run out. They were in the walls. Ugh, disgusting. See, mine aren't that bad. But I hope those combats work. I really do. You guys have been talking them up, so I hope they do the job. Chris Doug says Kennedy kill shot was fired by rogue CIA agent E. Howard Hunt. I don't know what DYOR means, but I've heard that theory too. And then E. Howard Hunt's name comes up later, associated with Nixon, I believe. Part of Nixon's crew, I think. MJ Daniel says Kelly is, and so there's the whole Nixon connection, the war connection, the military contractor connection. There's just so many things. It's just like I said, it's fishy. It's very fishy. To this day, it's still fishy. 60 years later, it's fishy as fuck. MJ Daniel says Kelly is good. My mom wants Chris Murphy. Newsom, is Chris Murphy running? At this point, I guess we can all have our little wish list. I wish Eddie Murphy was running. No, we can all have our little wish list, but we don't know who's running at this point. Other than I'm pretty sure Gavin Newsom. It's pretty safe to assume Gavin Newsom will be running. Other than that, it's anyone's guess. But anyhow, so MJ Daniel mom wants Chris Murphy. Newsom would be good. Getting the midterm is more important than anything right now. That's true. Let's not forget the midterms, which I don't think we will. I think there's going to be a huge. You saw those poll numbers. You saw the independents go from a +4 for Trump, like I guess favorability rating or whatever it was, to a -44. And it is the independents that sway these elections, that turn these elections. Because basically Republicans vote for Republicans and Democrats vote for Republicans. I think with very little like crossover or whatever, for the most part. It's the fucking independents, so-called independents, that really sway these elections. And that's really the group you have to appeal to. And right now, as it stands, Trump has lost them. I don't know if the Republican Party can, and by extension, they probably have too. So, and it's funny how it's always about the economy. It's about the economy, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. It's about the economy, stupid. That was true in 1994, and it's true now. 30 years later. So, and that is funny how the the catchphrase or the tagline or whatever of the day is affordability, which is basically another way of keeping it about the economy. It's about the economy, stupid. Always keep it about the economy is number one. That doesn't mean you can ignore Gaza. That doesn't mean you can ignore other issues. But the number one thing, I guess, that really attracts these independents, especially, are economic issues. So that should be probably always in the forefront of your campaigns and your platform. Keep it about the economy. Damon Dog says, finally, I circled the Pentagon twice and crossed the Potomac 4 times, but I found my way back to I-95. You did that on your trike, your e-trike? The Soulcraft says Illuminati became the catch for all bad guys in control. The secret cabal. Not that there aren't some, but it's not to the extent. I mean, there are conspiracies, and there are definitely groups of people that want to do harm, and they want to they don't like democracy. They want to install authoritarianism. There are groups like that, but it's not like the Illuminati, like this big, secret, vast, global organization. Josh C says Raskin won't run, but he should. Richard said Jamie Raskin survived cancer, a real hero. Yeah, he's went through that. MJ Daniel says I also like Pritzker. He would be another good choice. Yeah, I think is it JP? I always want to call him JD because of Van. I guess it's JP Pritzker, or I don't know, whatever the fuck. I'll just call him Pritzker. I think he might be running. He's probably going to be running. I wouldn't be surprised if Pritzker throws his hat in the ring. Chris Doug says Raskin as AG would rock. Karen Ames says Raskin would be amazing in the Senate, too. Jolie says I absolutely adore Jamie Raskin. He's definitely my fave person in Congress, and he's really sound. He is constitutionally sound. He knows his shit, and he's right on with what he says. He's always right on the. He really hits the nail right on the head. DPD 5854 says, really, TJ, even though Teal, I guess, has his cold, stubby little hands and everything and is everywhere, that evil surrounds, he's not the only one. Yeah, but that's not the Illuminati. That's not my definition of the Illuminati. I said there are bad people, and they have little groups, but that's not like the Illuminati to me is like this secret organization that's been around since the dawn of time, and they're global, and they're into everything, and they've got access to everything, and they can with the flick of a switch they can watch everybody and hear everybody, and they're in everything all the time. I think that's a bit of a stretch. Yeah, Peter Thiel is in with. There are groups of people that have certain ideology that is fucked up. That's for sure. But that's not the Illuminati. Hey, Tim Farrell's here, the Farrell one. Good to see Tim. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you. Tim Farrell says crossdresser like Caroline Levitt. I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to. I've never seen her crossdress, I don't think. Anyhow, But we all know that it's okay for women to wear more masculine clothing than it is for men to wear feminine clothing, as far as being socially accepted. I got 41 watching, 52 thumbs up. So we are acting like really super good Democrats with a nice big surplus. And I do appreciate you. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, and share. Let's get us out in the algorithm. We really should have more than 44 watching. If 21st century suffragettes can get 100 people consistently, I don't know why the fuck I can't. So you guys need to start hyping this channel, man. Hit that hype button. Luck Dragon 2112 says any sequel that stars Samuel L. Jackson is okay with me. Yeah, those were okay. That one was okay, but nothing was as good as the first Die Hard as far as the sequels. None of them. They all paled in comparison. The first one was the best by far. It's not even close. It's not even close. Josh C says Running Man is funnier. Are you talking about the new one? I haven't seen the new one. The old one, I haven't seen that in so many years. I don't know, but I just remember at the time I really liked it. I thought it was a good Arnold Schwarzenegger action film. You know. Tim Farrell says I'm still a Harris fan, big time. I like Kamala Harris, and she might run again too, right? I don't think she's closed the door on that possibility. So we might see Kamala Harris running, Gavin Newsom. Now, did you hear that Eric Swalwell threw his hat in the ring to run for governor of California? I think that's pretty interesting, and I think he could win. I think he's going to win, or has a good shot at winning. I don't know. I haven't seen any early polling on it, but I think Swalwell could win, and I think Swalwell sees that as his path to a presidential run. You know, if he becomes governor of California and he does a couple terms there, and the state goes from now being the fourth largest economy, I mean, how much further can they go? I don't, could they become wouldn't it be funny if the United States was the first largest economy and then California was the second largest economy or something? Could we get to number 2? I mean, how much further can a state get? Right now, we're the fourth largest economy in the world. I say we, even though I live in Nevada, but born and raised, lived first 59 years of my life in California, so I still consider myself a Californian. Anyhow, but I thought that was interesting. My first thought was, aha, he has presidential aspirations. He sees what Gavin Newsom did and is doing. Gavin Newsom hasn't won yet, but he sees, where he's going. My first thought was, that's his pathway to at least making a run for the presidency. I'm not saying Eric Swalwell is going to someday be the president, but I do think that that's his goal, ultimately, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with having that. There's nothing wrong with making that as your goal. The Socraft says Jello Biafra from POTUS. I have no idea who that is, so I can't weigh in on that. MJ Daniel says I'd vote for Dropkick Murphys over any Republican. Yep, me too. Let's see here. DPD 5844 says the iHip ladies, Gin and Pumps, announced that the UK is calling maybe the orange pedophile a Russian asset. I guess Russia wasn't a hoax after all. Well, yeah, we knew that. We've always known that. We didn't fall victim to Trump's, mind games. We've always known that Russia was not a hoax, that it was real. It's a real deal. All right, let's change. Let me look for another thing here. Now, did you guys hear about this preposterous fucking so-called peace deal between Ukraine and Russia, talking about Russia? Oh my God! Talk about sweetheart deals. We were talking about sweetheart deals, with Jeffrey Epstein. My God, that was a sweetheart deal for fucking Russia. It was basically give Russia everything they want, grant them immunity against war crimes for all the fucking children and pregnant women they've murdered. Have Europe pay for the rebuilding of all the land that Russia would get from from that peace, so-called peace deal. It was just such a fucking horrible piece of shit so-called peace deal, and I was a little bit worried when Zelensky, had a taped message there about how, he was worried about this decision, like, do we not take it, and then we're facing a really rough winter, and we're all this stuff, or do we and do I risk losing a friend or something? I think it was something about America, right? On and on and on. Oh, speaking of Jesus, there's Jesus. There he goes. There we go. He looks a little bit like Zoran Madami, doesn't he? I think Jesus has been elected New York mayor. But anyhow, but one's a Christian. Well, one's a Jew. I guess Jesus was a Jew. Christianity started up later. I think Jesus has come back as a Muslim. But anyhow, the Zelensky thing, I was a little worried about that, but I was relieved to just before I came on the air to see that Zelensky said, "Fuck no." He said, "No, I thought about it, and no, I'm not taking your piece of shit deal." It was a piece of shit deal. Go ahead and look at it. It was a piece of shit. It gave everything to Russia. It fucked over Ukraine. It fucked over Europe. It fucked over the European Union. It's a fucking wish list that's for Putin in Russia. He wants to be put back into the G8, and he wants the European Union. He wants all this shit, and he wants them to pay like billions and billions of dollars to rebuild all these places that he fucking bombed. Fuck you, Vladimir Putin, you piece of shit. I cannot wait. There's very few people on this planet. I can't wait until they fucking croak. And fucking Putin, you're top of the list, motherfucker. You're top of my list. The people that I can't wait fucking croak. So we don't have to deal with your fucking homicidal, fucking genocidal fucking ass anymore. Maybe put Netanyahu on that list too, and old Trumpy. Those are probably the top three. They're on my fucking can't wait till they fucking die list. Is Kimchi here? Someone saying hi to Kimchi. So hello, Kimchi. Good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. The goddess Kimchi, always good to see in the chats. In the chat rooms. Man, I must have pissed off a lot of people. We went from like 44 watching down to 34 watching. Was it the 21st century suffragist comment that I made? Nothing against them. I watch them all the time. I love them. But they'll have 100 people in there. I get 30. The dirty 30. I get the dirty 30. I don't know why I can't have the hefty 100. Why can't I have the hefty 100? It's not a zero-sum game, folks. You can watch both shows. We're very rarely on at the same time. Unless they're on now. I don't know. We're very rarely on at the same time. We can have this. We can share the same audiences, and you guys can watch the same shows and shit. Who's on now? Did you guys all go to Mercado Media? Let me just see. I don't know. I don't see anyone on that would be where you guys run to. Oh, wait a minute. 21st Century Suffragettes. Oh, that was from yesterday. Okay, that was yesterday's show. I don't know where you guys all ran to. I guess maybe I just pissed people off. I don't know. Maybe I'm pissing people off again. Everyone's running. Everyone's leaving. Gonna go watch the Vegas Vibe show. I don't know. What are you guys watching? There's the Big Bear Cam. Barely any snow at all. They've been having storms up there, but barely got any snow. I think the slopes have been making snow and stuff. Here's a live stream of the Sphere. Got that going. I don't know where you guys all ran to. Now we're down to 27. So, fuck. Thanks for the 27 who are remaining. DPD, we're here for you. Thank you, DPD. I appreciate that. Thanks for the 27 who have stayed. Damn Dog says it was moving and now it's a standstill. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. But I probably should get going pretty soon. I can get to work. Got to get to work, man. We're 0 for 5 on the goal today, so I guess I didn't do a good job motivating you guys today. Luck Dragon says there's a huge difference between people who were planned to be born and other people. My mother had a miscarriage, and 2 years later I was born. My mom had 3 miscarriages between me and my brother being born. Me and my brother are like 16 years apart. My mom had 3 miscarriages, and I was healthy as fuck. But my mom was pretty young when she had me. She was only 18. And I think that might have really sort of decimated her insides, let's just say. I don't know. Maybe I sucked out all the nutrients or something. And it took 16 years for her to regenerate. Because then she had my brother, and then 2 years later my sister. 2 healthy babies, big bouncing babies. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Chris Doug says, "Oh my God, TJ, Jello Biafra was the lead singer of the Dead Kennedys." Oh, sorry, I don't know. Who was the drummer? Did they even have a drummer? I don't even know. Chris Doug's continuing with Chris Doug says, "It's a holiday in Cambodia. It's tough, but it's life. It's holiday in Cambodia. Don't forget to pack your wife." I guess, is that Dead Kennedys lyrics? And appropriate, we're talking about Dead Kennedys today, of all days. I get it. Luck Dragon says, "First of all, you need to give up all your nuclear weapons." Yeah, that was another thing. And then you need to give up all of your NATO province. This is all done in the 1990s. Now what you need to do is give up 20% of your land. Yeah, it's like parts of that so-called peace agreement was you will have a restriction in the size of your army. You're going to give up your nukes again. And Zelensky's not going to... I knew Zelensky wasn't going to go for that shit. He's not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick. They did that in the 90s, right? When Ukraine said, "Okay, we'll give up all of our nukes, and you guys promise you'll protect us." And then what happened? We see what happened. So they're not going to fall for that. But yeah, and this so-called peace deal was like you're going to sort of like demilitarize or have a limit in your military. You will not join NATO. They're going to restrict them from NATO. All this kind of fucking shit. This is definitely Vladimir Putin's fucking wish list. This is not a peace deal. This is Putin's fucking wish list. So to that I tell you, fuck you, asshole, Putin. Take your little wish list and stick it up your ass. And that's basically what Zelensky told him, and I'm glad. And if under Trump, if the United States, and I think we need to flood our representatives' offices. And when I say representatives, I mean I'm not just talking about House of Rep. To me, a representative is everybody. It's the Senate, your rep, your House reps. Your state reps. I don't give a fuck. Everybody, we need to flood them with calls and letters, postcards, everything on social media to tell Trump that under no uncertain terms or whatever, that we are to back Ukraine. We cannot not back Ukraine. We have to be there for them and supply them with whatever they need. And your little fucking love affair with Putin is over, motherfucker. It's over. We need to put the pressure on him. Let's do that. Let's do that today. Let's start right now. We are going to put the pressure on Trump and everyone else that we will back Ukraine no matter what. Slava motherfucking Ukraine, motherfuckers. DPD 5844 says, now, TJ, what would Megan clutching her pearls Kelly say about that depiction of Jesus? I saw somebody else say Jesus. Of Jesus. Yeah, she would say, that's not right. We all know Jesus is white. Jesus is white. Santa Claus is white. Jesus is white. All of Megyn Kelly's most favorite imaginary people are white. Look, Dragon says, why are there crosses? People being hung by crosses has been around for thousands of years. Be Jesus was never even born. Read history. Kimchi says, Fredericksburg is the little redneck town into D.C. area. Jolie says, one thing is for sure, the press conference with Mamdani and Trump is the clearest example of the light defeating darkness that I've ever seen outside of a movie. Light always wins. That's a good point. Olga Martinez is here. Says, I didn't run. I don't know what that's a reference to, but thanks, Olga, for being here. I do appreciate you. Oh, like you didn't run like when I said everyone was leaving. We are back up to 41. Maybe everyone kind of was checking something else out. I don't know. But like I said, we should have 141 in here, people. So hit that share button. Hit that hype button. We should easily have, I have 4,200 subscribers. I should have at least 141 people in here right now, in my humble opinion. Maybe even 420 people. 420. You guys love 420 so much. Go and tell all your friends and family about this show. We should have 420 people in here on every show. None of this 440 people. Kimchi says, the easiest way to become an atheist is to read the Bible. Chris Doug, I knew Chris Doug would have the answer to this. I asked earlier, who was the drummer of the Dead Kennedys? And Chris Doug says the drummer was, of course, everyone knows, it's Peligro. Well, thank you so much. Of course, I've always known of the Dead Kennedys. I've heard some of their songs, but I never got past that level of knowledge. Like I didn't know who the actual people in the band were. But to each their own. MJ Daniel, Big Bear Bald Eagles are back in their nest. Cool. Yeah, I don't really watch the Bald Eagle camera all that much. Every now and then I do, but I haven't kept up on it. I just watch the ones like the Big Bear Village cam, and it goes around like to the lake and to the dock and to the street. I watch that one just to see what the weather looks like. I don't really watch the Eagle one too much. I do see they're saying this is a live shot in Congress where I think it's Al Green reading his multi-part articles of impeachment. It says it's live. This actual video might not be live. I don't know. So there's that. That's going on. We got that. Chris Doug, for now on just reading all Chris Doug the rest of the day. Chris Doug says, Dead Kennedys, major San Francisco punk band, late 70s and 80s, saw them live many times in New York City. Well, there you go. You're a fanboy. Of course you're going to know who the drummer is. Who was the bass player? Who's the lead guitar? Was it Jelly Brafro also? I don't even know. I want to know the whole band. I want to know their manager. I want to know the roadies. I want everything. I want it all. DPD 54 says, 5044 says, I was a late baby too, TJ. I'm 48 years old and my sister is 64. We're 16 years apart. It's funny you say late baby. My mom was so young when she had me at 18. When she had my brother, she was only like 34, which is younger than when I had my kids at. When I had my two kids, I was in my late 30s. So, Jeff Curry's here. Did Jeff Curry pop in? Well, there's Jeff Curry. Hello, Jeff Curry. Thanks for popping on in. I appreciate you. Jeff Curry, would you do me a favor? Hit the like, subscribe, share, and hype button. Hit that hype button. Sandy Fo says Jesus is not white. Well, it's just the thing, there are a lot of people that think that. Because for so many centuries and centuries, Jesus was, by these, painters who, before there was photograph, there were no photographs around when Jesus was around. So there, these basically, English painters were painting Jesus with blonde hair and blue eyes, and that was the pictures that got around. That was the depiction of Christ, of what Christ looked like. Was this blonde hair, blue eyed dude? And then the movies did the same thing. I remember as a kid watching, what was the Jeffrey Hunter one? I remember they played it every Easter, I think. And Jeffrey Hunter was an actor, very handsome, white guy, blue eyes, blonde hair, playing Jesus. I can remember even my mom, we would watch it and she would go, boy, that Jesus is good looking, It's a good looking Jesus there. Hanging on the cross, no less. And she's like, that's a good looking Jesus. I forget the name of that movie with Jeffrey Hunter who played Jesus, but I remember that was one of the ones they would play every fucking Easter on TV. And that's what gets into people's heads. So when you see that, you see over centuries, it gets into the zeitgeist or whatever. You see these depictions of Christ as being blonde hair, blue eyed, and then when movies start doing that, blonde hair, blue eyed, then of course all these dumb rednecks are going to be like, Jesus was blonde hair and blue eyed. By God. Luck Dragon says, I was raised by women. Now all of a sudden I'm supposed to disagree with them? Fuck you, In Vogue. Okay, I guess that was a beef with the band In Vogue, or the singing group In Vogue, I think. Who was the lead singer? Who was the bass player for them? Whatever. I don't know. All right, skipping on down because I know I'm kind of behind here. Kimchi says it's different for women. It literally sucks the life force from us. I'm not sure if that's you're talking about giving birth, maybe? I don't know. MJ Daniel, I do know that Henry Rollins was a singer for Black Flag. Yeah, I knew that one too. I knew that. Chris Doug, on bass, Klaus Fluoride, and guitar, East Bay Ray, Jello on vocals. Thank you, Chris Doug. I've now learned more in today's chat about the Dead Kennedys punk rock band than I've ever known in my entire life about that band. So thank you. Thank you for enlightening me, for educating me. Now, how much of that I retain, I don't know. I have a feeling I will probably remember the Jello Biaflo guy. as lead singer. The others, I might not remember that. I might not. Jeff Curry says, store today saw Vlasic pickle balls, dill pickle corn puffs. Did you pick you up some? Look, Dragon, I'm a go-go. As in the Go-Go's? Our lips are sealed. Our lips are sealed. I always wondered, was that like a, a double entendre for they're not putting out, if you know what I mean? Bill Fast Bob says, says Six Pack MJ Brilliant, one of my first American punk singles. Look, Dragon, Go-Go is my favorite punk rock band. I'm sorry, I know it should be the Subhumans, but I can't help myself. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. Chris Doug says, want to laugh? Google the image of the dead Kennedys posing with Governor Moonbeam Jerry Brown. Sandy Fold says, the tenant next door looked like Jesus. Which Jesus? The blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus, or the more Middle Eastern Jesus? Kimchi says, I never heard of the Dead Kennedys until I was 30. Only one radio station in the Shenandoah Valley, and they never played punk. Bastards. They didn't even have, like, Punk Sunday. Bastards. Belfast Bob says, Jello Baffrey is a punk god. Love that man. Rest of DK's nope. Oh, really? Might I smell some derision there? Rox1 SMF says they were on the hit list of the PMRC because of their album cover, Penis Landscape. Was that the Dead Kennedys that were on that list you're talking about? Kim Chi says never heard of Rocky Horror, and it played every Friday, an hour and a half from my house. I went to a few of those showings. It was kind of fun. It was a fun thing. Phil Stone 1 says, I remember listening to Holiday in Cambodia when I was in college, but I remember actual Biafra. Phil Stone 1, by the way, thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on in. Hope you will like, subscribe, and share, and hit the hype button. We need to hype this show up. Troy says, personally, my favorite bands are Bad Brains, Minor Threat, and Fugazi. We are so different, Petrazi. My favorite bands are Van Halen, and Van Halen. No. My favorite bands are Van Halen, the Beatles, Aerosmith, Foghat, Thin Lizzy, U2. I guess I would say Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. But definitely Springsteen, he's a band by himself. Those are my favorites. I have nothing against punk really. It's kind of like reggae. We talked about earlier before. There's some good reggae, and I can listen to a little bit of reggae, but I can't listen to it for more than about 10 minutes, and then I'm good for about a year. It's like that's probably the way it is with some of the punk stuff, or there's some good stuff, and I can listen to it for a little bit, but then I'm good. I'm good for another decade or so, you know. But the bands that I mentioned that I love, I can listen to those all fucking day. You know, CCR, you know, the Stones. Last night, I know "Smoke on the Water" is probably the most famous Deep Purple song, and it's been played a million times. But I hadn't heard it in a long, long time, and it came on the radio last night. And I was just like, whoa, it's Deep Purple, man. I haven't heard them in ages. Like I said, I know they're probably been played a billion times, but I hadn't heard it in a while. So I kind of got excited when Deep Purple came on the radio last night. But all that punk stuff, yeah, there's some good stuff and it's okay, but I can't really, get into it too much. Look, Dragon says, doesn't matter what they say and the jealous games people play. Trucker is signed and sealed and delivered. Okay. Roxanne, I grew up in Southern California, so I grew up in the desert of Southern California. I know I've had friends that were from like LA and San Diego and all parts in between. And they're like, we're from Southern California, motherfucker. You're from like up north. And I'm like from Victorville. When I think of up north, I'm thinking of like Redding or some shit, But they're like, no, you're like Northern California. You're not even Southern California. But they were just, kind of fucking with me, as one does with one's friends. Kimchi says, my daughter's boyfriend has forced me to listen to the kids' music. Thousands of genres like bluegrass metal, which is awesome, by the way. Bluegrass metal? I don't know if I've heard that. I don't know if I've ever heard any bluegrass metal. It might be interesting. Josh C says, Kimchi, my buddy, used to have a band that did Metallica and classic rock tunes, but bluegrass style. That kind of reminds me of, remember what's the fucking show with the robots? They had the movies in the 70s and they made a TV show on HBO about the robots. Why am I blanking on the fucking name? And there was a lot of, you would hear this music playing in the background, just sort of like soundtrack music with a piano or something. And it was like I think it was Metallica songs they were playing. And I thought that was kind of cool. Fucking Westworld or whatever. Yeah, Westworld, whatever it's called. Yeah. See, the thing, and I'm kind of bummed out about Westworld because I think it just got too complicated and too, like, after a while, it was like, oh, everyone's a fucking robot. To the point where you're not even surprised. Rox1SMF says, that's where I am, Victorville. That's where I grew up. I grew up, we kept moving back and forth between Apple Valley and Victorville, basically. So I lived in both Apple Valley and Victorville. I went to mostly my elementary and most of the first 2 years of junior high were Victorville. I went to ninth grade in Apple Valley and then all of high school in Apple Valley. But when we very first moved from the San Fernando Valley to the Victor Valley, we moved to Apple Valley when I was like 3.5. So the first place we moved to was Apple Valley. We even lived in Lucerne Valley for a little while, for about a year or maybe less. Then we moved back to Victorville or something. But yeah, Victorville, Apple Valley mainly I lived there for about 30 years, and then I moved over to the Antelope Valley when I was in my late 20s, almost 30. I said 30 years, didn't I? I guess from 3 till about 28. So I guess 25 years in the Antelope Valley. I mean, in the Victor Valley. And then about 31 years in the Antelope Valley. And then I moved here to Vegas 6 years ago. Philstone 1 says, another band I remember from college was the Residents, who I was surprised to see are appearing at Park West in Chicago in January. Eskimo was Wind and Wailing on white vinyl. I still like all the bands I mentioned better. The ones that I mentioned that I like. Karen Ames says Victorville is still Southern California, even Paso Robles. I know technically if you draw a line, I'm just saying what they were saying. They were like giving me a hard time because I wasn't from one of the cool cities. I wasn't from Huntington Beach or whatever. I had the volume on my TV at 1, and normally I can't hear anything, but I can hear Al Green. He's fucking. I can hear him. He's shouting. Al Green getting a bit shouty. This was probably from yesterday when he introduced. I guess he introduced articles of impeachment against Trump. Of course, it'd be against Trump. Roxanne, I miss the San Fernando Valley. San Fernando Valley, it's. I think it's just gotten too overpopulated. I mean, how many millions of people can you stuff in a what, a 10-mile by 20-mile circumference? I mean, there's millions of people that live there. There's more people that live in the San Fernando Valley than what live in Montana and Wyoming and South Dakota and North Dakota and a bunch of other states combined. You could combine a whole bunch of states, and the San Fernando Valley would have more fucking population than those fucking states. Those redneck back-assward states that give us people like Dick Cheney, for instance, and Max Baucus, who was a blue dog dino, and things of this nature. Petrazzi 1920 says, I was raised in, I think he meant Covina, then went to Colton, and then went to Kentucky. From Colton to Kentucky. Well, that's quite a big change. Quite a big move. Luck Dragon says the Kings are really bad. No, they're not. They're not a really bad band. They're just Beatles light. They're just Beatles ripoff. That's what they are. And you can tell Ray and Don, whatever the fuck their names. I said so. Jolie says I didn't get into the Dead until I was 19. Belfast Bomb, Voltaire. So I only got Jerry for 6 years, but saw him many, many times. Incredible memories. That's right. Jolie is our resident Deadhead, by the way. So better watch yourself if you're gonna talk some shit about the Dead. Better watch yourself. DBD, what about Jack White and the White Stripes? Well, isn't this the White Stripes? I like Jack White and the White Stripes. I like the White Stripes. I didn't put them on my list, but I still like them. I mean, for newer bands, I mean, most of those bands I listed were probably more like classic rock. But I mean, I love Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden. I love all those fucking bands. Rage Against the Machine, and then even newer 21 Pilots, Cage the Elephant. I love those guys. They're pretty awesome. What's the newest band that I like? I don't even know. I was listening to last night. There's a couple new bands that I really liked, and I can't remember their names because they're so new to me. They've probably been out for a few years. But there's some new rockers that are out that I like. And there was a song last night, and I can't remember the name of it. Was it Had Enough or something like that? Look it up, guys. Had Enough. That was a good song, good band. Look, Dragon. Which one is Pink? I like Pink Floyd. David Dog, rest area break. That was stressful. I left all my anti-stress materials in the motel. Okay, don't get too stressed out, Damon Dog. Need to take a break. You take a break. I'm not going to say anything. Karen Ames says, I was in Saugus and then Lancaster, or Lancaster, as they say in Pennsylvania. I had a football teammate who was from Lancaster. I guess it's Pennsylvania, right? And at the time, I was still from, Apple Valley. But I certainly knew of Lancaster, California, since it's sort of a rival. Their schools are kind of rivals with our schools, at least when I was playing football and stuff and sports. So I certainly knew of Lancaster, California. And it was kind of funny. He would always insist that it's pronounced Lancaster. And I said, well, in Pennsylvania, your little town there is pronounced Lancaster. But the one in California is Lancaster. And it was just kind of a funny thing that we would always have a little back and forth about. System of a Down. I like System of a Down. Roxanne. Or Rox 1 SMF. I like System of a Down. They're really good. I like System of a Down. They were good. They're really good. They're like, good rock. And they're from what? Fucking Ukraine or something. They're not Ukrainians, but they're like some Eastern European country, I guess. And they're really good. And I like when you said System of a Down, for some reason, I think of Tool. I like Tool. But yeah, for a newer band, I like. When you said System of a Down, it reminded me of another band, but even though they're not the same sound. Oh, Muse. That's just called Muse. I like Muse. I don't think it's called The Muse. They're just Muse, right? They're really good. I like Muse. Roxanne, I like all those bands too, TJ. Good, thank you. Yes, thank you. I think I should get busy on a compilation tape. I need to go to an old, do they even make, they probably don't even make like cassette player recorders anymore. I might have to go to a thrift store or something, or go maybe search online to get me an old cassette recorder player, hook it up to a turntable or something, and I got to make me some fresh compilation tapes. That's going to be my new hobby. Jolie might be the only one that kind of gets that joke about the compilation tapes. But that's the way we roll here. I do jokes for one person at a time. One person at a time. Someone's talking loud outside. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it bugs me. It bugs me. Karen Name says, nope, it's Lancaster. Like I said, in California, it's Lancaster. In Pennsylvania, it's Lancaster. I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. It's just like in America, football is football. It ain't soccer. In Europe or anywhere else, soccer can be football. But in America, football is soccer, and football is football. That's just the way it is, man. That's what having borders is all about. Sunnyfold says, TJ, did you get your Walmart? I did get my card. I got to work on time. I got there at 3:34, and the office closes at 4. The office, because where the drivers check in, that's 24/7, where we check in and get our cabs and stuff. And I asked him, I go, do you guys have, I go, I never did get my card. Do I get them here? And he goes, no, you got to go to the front office. And the front office, they close at 4, I think. So I got there at 3:34. I got checked in at the front desk at like 3:45. Ran around to the front, got my card just in the nick of time. It's in my wallet right now. Have not used it. I got $50 Walmart card. And I know we're supposed to boycott or some such shit, but I'm going to use my fucking card. Rocks One SMF says Muse is good. I love Muse. I really love that band. Now Roxanne 1979 says Primus sucks. I don't think they suck. I used to think they were playing Primus Socks when I heard at the shows. Oh, is that what they say, like as a joke at the or something when the fans? Because I don't think they suck. I think they're pretty cool. I mean, I don't know who the fucking, don't ask me who the fucking lead singer is and shit. I don't know. I don't really get into that. I like the music, okay? I don't know who their fucking lead singer is, so don't fucking pin me to the wall on that. Chris Doug. But, you know, I like me some Primus. I only know a couple of their songs. I don't know the whole playlist. I don't know their whole catalog. I know 2 or 3 of their songs, and I think they're pretty funny and interesting and unique, you know. Krista says System of a Down is from Glendale. They may have come here and settled in Glendale, but I'm pretty sure they are from fucking Uzbekistan or some shit. Look it up, Chris Doug. Look it up. Look, Dragon Primus sucks as a battle cry. Okay, there you go. Rocks One SFMs. I made a heavy metal mixtape that was my driving soundtrack. Yeah, but did you ever make a compilation tape? Trademark Trugger John. I don't think anyone made compilation tapes. I think I'm the one and only. I think I am the originator and the one and only who made compilation tapes. Jolie, compilation tapes with the tiny writing. Yes. I'm gonna make some more of those and put some really tiny writing on it. Jolie, I'm gonna get the gear someday, and I'm gonna make a compilation tape and I'm gonna send it to you. I don't know if you have a cassette player. Does anyone in this chat, does anyone in the world still have a working cassette player? That's the question. Rocks One SFM and says, and foosball is table soccer. Exactly. Roxanne 79 Kimchi, he's Gen X like me, but he's 13 years my senior. Kimchi mixtape titles above. Belfast Bob, I still have tape to tape player, still going strong. Roxanne 79 says, Rox, I know I used to like hard rock or rap. I never really liked rap, by the way. Some rap. I mean, if Beastie Boys is rap, so I like Beastie Boys. Call me racist. I don't know. I like Beastie Boys. But I don't like really much of the other stuff. Because they were Beastie Boys became a good fusion of rock and rap. Even before they started playing their own instruments and stuff, they were still very, I don't know, kind of rock rap or whatever. Roxanne 79 says, I listen to Bob Marley because I've got enough natural road rage these days. I don't understand road rage, actually. I really don't understand it. I really don't do the road rage thing. I know you guys probably think I'm full of shit because sometimes I yell at people in the chat. But I really don't. It doesn't. Shit. It takes a lot for something to really bother me. You know? And some people get so irritated at just the tiniest little thing. I mean, the tiniest little thing, and I've seen people just fucking go ape shit over the tiniest little thing, and I'm just like, bro, fucking mellow out. It's just traffic. Traffic is what traffic is. Traffic does what traffic does. It's like its own. It has a mind of its own. Now, granted, I don't like assholes who are going to do dangerous shit, but a lot of people just fly off the handle just because the traffic is going too slow. I know it's frustrating, but it's just traffic. Roxanne 79 South Park theme is by Les Claypool, lead singer and bassist of Primus. Chris Kyle 420 says, "What's up? What's up with you, Chris Kyle 420? Thanks for popping into the Old Drivers Lounge. I do appreciate you for coming on in. Not sure if I've seen you before. Thanks for popping in. We're just having a hang. We're just hanging, man." Chris Doug says, "I disagree." Of course, you and I, Chris Doug, we do disagree a lot, I think, but that's cool. That's okay. I don't mind. I still think you're cool. Chris Doug says, "I disagree. The Kinks are not a Beatles ripoff. Formed in 1963 by brothers Ray and Dave Davies, they were the quintessential pre-rock band." This sounds like something you got off of ChatGPT, by the way. They were the quintessential pre-punk band since their irreverent lyrics preceded it all. Tell me Lola doesn't sound like a Beatles ripoff. There's quite a few of their songs that when I was a little kid growing up and I wasn't, real savvy, there's a few songs on big Kinks songs that I for years thought I thought they were Beatles songs until I got a little bit older and I was able to go, oh wait, did the guy talking on the radio just say that was this thing called the Kinks? Belfast Bob says, "Has anyone noticed today's drivers are terrible? My head's on like a swivel. Must be paying to pass their test." I don't know. I think that's been an age old complaint since the beginning of cars on the road. I think, I really don't think that drivers are any more bad or good than they've ever been. And every single town I've ever gone to, people complain about the drivers. So apparently every town has shitty drivers because no matter where you go, they'll go, "People here drive like shit." Whether it's in Vegas, whether it's in California, in Pittsburgh or Dallas, Denver, I don't care where you go, East Coast, everyone complains about how shitty the drivers are. And apparently no one can drive in the rain. Anywhere, no matter where you go. So apparently that is universal. It's not just to one area. Like in California, they'll go, "The people out here, they don't know how to drive in rain." I've heard that same complaint everywhere that I've gone in this country. I was a truck driver. I've been to all 48 states. I've heard all the complaints. It's the same complaint everywhere. So that tells me that it's everywhere. It's not just one region or one area or whatever. Jolie says, "I do have a cassette player, John, to play all my traded Grateful Dead tapes, used to trade them in the mail." Awesome. Yeah, so keep that cassette player in good working order. Someday I'm going to send you a compilation tape. Not a mixtape. Mixtapes are for sissies. You're going to get a Trucker John compilation tape. Luck Dragon says, "I've been listening to a lot of," and if I can ever find, I think I still have some. I don't think anything has survived from my high school days. I do have some that I made later, I think like in the 80s or 90s, that might still exist. I don't know if they play or not. I don't know what they sound like, but I think I still have the actual cassette in a box somewhere. But like I said, all the stuff I made from the 70s. I don't think those have survived. Look, Dragon says, I've been listening a lot to Lake Street Drive lately again. Again, really? I'm really into jazz right now. I guess I go through phases with my guitar. I've never been able to get really into too much jazz. Sometimes jazz is okay, or some styles of jazz. I know there's a lot of different styles of jazz. Some of it, just that kind of free form shit, I don't really like. Whatever they call it, I don't know. Some of it's okay, and it's more, to me, it's good for like background music. It's not something I'm just going to sit there and you know, do my trucker dance to. Roxanne says, look, Dragon, I love Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. Tim Farrell, the Kinks library is incredible if people would just get past their greatest hits. Well, of course, I think the Kinks' greatest song is the song that was featured, somewhat so anyhow, in one of my favorite all-time movies, starring one of my favorite all-time comedic actors, and that would be from the movie Stripes, and referring to Bill Murray. And when they were in like boot camp and they were trying to do their cadence for their marching, and they going, there she was, just walking down the street singing, whatever. Isn't that a Kinks song? And that didn't sound like the Beatles. See, that was more original. She looked good. She looked fine. Then was that Kinks? Then she merely blew my mind. Maybe that's not the Kinks. And then, of course, certainly my favorite, or my first time hearing Van Halen was hearing you know, the guitar solo, Eruption, and then go into Girl You Really Got Me Now. That's the Kinks song for sure. And you really got me now. I always liked that song. That was a Kinks song that I already knew about and I already liked. And then when Van Halen came out with their version, I totally love that. I love the Van Halen version better than the Kinks version. And I understand that the Davies brothers, especially one of them, I think one of them was more of a prick than the other. They were kind of pricks. They were kind of like, I think one has died, so I don't mean to go total past tense. I think one's alive, but still alive. But they were I think they're kind of like really snobby little pricks, because I don't think they liked the Van Halen version at all. But they sure did like those fucking royalty checks that they got from it. The second round of royalty from that song. They didn't refuse those, did they? But they didn't like Van Halen. So I guess I'm a little pissy about the Davies brothers, because anyone who doesn't like Van Halen or says bad things about them, especially the first 6 albums, I get a little offended by. I get a little bit offended. But what are you going to do? But what are you going to do? David Quantico, okay. DPD 5844 says, yes, TJ, my husband indeed has a working cassette player. Well, there you go. There's still some cassette players out and about. Rita Ward's here. Hey, Rita, thanks for popping in. And Rita says, have cassette tapes, but no player. Oh, see, that's... I wonder if you could find one like at Goodwill or probably maybe online, maybe eBay. I wonder, there's got to be some around that are in good working order still. Kimchi says, I despise hip hop. It came up in the 80s and I hate change. Luck Dragon, I have records but no turntable? I don't know. Do you not have one? I don't know. Jolie says, I would love an original TJ compilation tape. Trigger John, complete with tiny writing. Oh, absolutely. The tiny writing is what kind of sets it apart. Yeah, if I ever do that, I might even have a cassette player in my storage, which I someday will get my shit out of storage in Victorville or in actually in Lancaster. Belfast basketball. I still have lots of tapes. I do have probably in my in storage probably like 30 cassettes maybe that have survived over the years. Again, I don't know if they even play. I think the tape degrades after a while or whatever. But, read a word. Sometimes I rage, but I try to keep myself in check. Just mentally prepare yourself. Whenever you get into the car, you should just say, okay, there's going to be some shit that happens out there, and just be ready for it, and so that you don't get caught off guard or caught by surprise, and just be ready for it and realize that shit's going to happen, and that's why I always tell people, leave early if you can, and stop if you're already late. If you're already late for something, then you're already on edge, and you're already anxious. And then every little thing that happens, every long red light, or every person that cuts you off, or whatever, it just adds to that anxiety. Sandy Folds says country music is the best. I've gone through a couple of country music phases in my life where I really liked country music for a bit, and I still like missing Dwight Yoakam. I think I told a story where I got laid at a Dwight Yoakam concert, not at the concert, but after the concert. Met a girl, we fell in love for one night, and had a good time. But that's not why I like Dwight Yoakam. I mean, I like Dwight Yoakam because I like his music. Roxanne 79, I can't stand when other people are in my way, especially these slow ass drivers that block you in. I'm a high speed passer. I don't have the patience anymore. Well, so what? So the fuck what? So you can't go the speed you want to go. Big deal. That's my attitude. Eventually you'll get around them, and then you can be the lead foot again. I personally have a problem with people with lead feet. My daughter has a lead foot. My ex has a lead foot. I have a problem with that. You don't need to have a fucking lead foot. You're not really saving that much time, actually, by the way. Tim Farrell, I'd love a compilation of Big Hook MAGA voice from Liberal Dan. Sandy Folks, my mom liked Barry Manilow. Barry Manilow is still performing here in Vegas at the Westgate Hotel, the same stage that used to be the Hilton back when Elvis performed there. Barry Manilow performs there now, and people love him. The guy's in his mid-80s, and people say he still sounds great. Jolie says, not to call you out, Trucker John, but I will. You totally had a road rage. Yeah, that's true. I was trying to get clicks, Jolie. No, but that's true. I did have a road rage moment. But that was because the guy flipped me off. And I think I've matured since then. Damon Dog, Butthole Surfers. Yeah, the Butthole Surfers. I don't know. Is Damon Dog behind in the video here or whatever, in the stream? Chris Doug, no, I don't quote Chat GTP. It's all me and my Capricorn opinions. Okay, Chris Doug. Sorry to have mislabeled that. Or miss something. I did something miss. Roxanne said, I just yell at my windshield and maybe see if you're gonna flick someone off. that he might even cause a mild-mannered driver like myself to get a little road ragey. But I don't do that anymore because I know that I cannot do that. I'm not the physical specimen I once was, and I cannot afford to get anything, turn anything physically violent, because I will get pummeled. Not like in my younger days. Chris Doug, what Beatles song does Lola sound like? It just sounds like a Beatles song. All the riffs, everything in it sounds like a Beatles song to me. Belfast Bob, folks indicating last minute or not indicating or cutting me off. Yeah, I know that's all frustrating. You just gotta, like I say, head on a swivel, be careful. But the other day, someone here in Vegas had some sort of road rage incident, pulled out a gun, shot into the car, and killed the 11-year-old sitting in the back seat or sitting somewhere in the car. So and I'm not saying you guys are going to take your guns out and start shooting, but I mean, was whatever that driver did to piss you off, was it worth killing an 11-year-old for? And even if you don't take out a gun, I mean, is your road rage, is it going to cause an accident? Is it going to cause worse things to happen? Just back off, relax, don't let it get to you. Look, Dragon, I've made so many compilation tapes. I've actually made compilation tapes of comedians. Okay, but did you actually label it compilation tape? Is that what you labeled it? That's the thing. Did you actually write on there compilation tape? Jolie says, now I have to make a compilation tape of Big Hook, MAGA Voice. I'm definitely doing it. That would be funny. Belfast, well, fair enough, TJ, but I like venting. Yeah, you know. It's okay to vent, but most of the, I don't really get worked over. The thing that Jolie was talking about, that's when I first got the Tesla, and I remember I was just sort of still learning the buttons and how to drive the Tesla or something. Then I was going on an off ramp, and then this asshole in a pickup truck, he was like a landscaping contractor or something because he had like a trailer with a bunch of tools in it. I'm on a fucking off ramp, and this guy has to swing around me because he wants to go 90 miles an hour on the fucking off ramp. And fine, if they had just gone around me, fine, whatever. But they had to roll down their window and flip me off and yell at me out the window. There, you know, and I heard them go like, "Learn how to drive." I think that's what pissed me off more than anything, because I'm a professional driver. Fuck you. I know I could drive circles around you, motherfucker. That's what pissed me off. I didn't give a fuck that they wanted to go 90 miles an hour on the off ramp and pass me. Go ahead, pass me. I don't give a fuck. But then they had to roll down the window, yell at me, flip me off, and all this kind of shit, and tell me to learn how to drive. And I'm like, fuck you, I'll show you how to drive. And that's when I punched it in that Tesla and fucking went right around him, buzzed right around him. That's a whole different thing than just getting mad because traffic is slow or something. Kimchi says, paranoia, the destroyer. Paranoia will destroy ya. Chris Doug, that was Manfred Mann. Manfred Mann. It was Manfred Mann the one that that was Manfred Mann, huh? Yeah. She looked good. She looked fine. But the certainly the Girl You Really Got Me Now was Kinks, and yeah, and that was a good Kinks song. That was a really good one. Do you mean like Kenny G jazz? I don't like really Kenny G, but whatever. Look, Dragon, the first concert I ever went to was Sammy Hagar, Montrose. Montrose was a pretty good band with Sammy and was it Ronnie Montrose or something? Really good band, really good. Chris Doug, Sunny Afternoon, a well-respected band. Kinks classics that I think as a little kid, I thought those were Beatles songs. When I was hearing that shit, when I was 6, 7 years old or whatever, I thought those were fucking Beatles songs. That's how much they sounded like the Beatles to me. Look, Dragon, when I was 13 years old, my favorite 70s bands was UFO, but as I grew older, I realized, why aren't I listening to Led Zeppelin? Funny thing is, you could have listened to both of them. Kim Shee, there's a metal cover of You Spin Me Right Around, and it's 20 times better than the original. I think I may have heard that version. Karen Name says, I still have 8 tracks. We have an 8-track player that still works. Hubby has a cassette player in his truck. That is so funny. The old 8 tracks. I bet you somewhere, because a lot of my dad's stuff was left like with my brother and sister. If they still have my dad's stuff, I don't know if they've gotten rid of it or whatever. But I bet you there's an 8-track player in there somewhere. If they still have all that shit. Jolie says, I remember having to be so careful with my portable CD player, total garbage. Yeah, I remember it would like jump and skip and stuff, Look, Dragon says, Van Halen is the only band that came back from breakup to become an actual better band. I don't think they were better, actually. I like the early David Lee Roth, first 6 out. I think it's the first 6. Those are my favorite. I love Sammy Hagar. I think the Sammy Hagar era, the next 5 or whatever that they came out with are really solid, really good albums, really good songs on there. There's a lot of the Van Hagar era. I just have to emphasize because so many people are like it's either or. I like both, but I like the original band make up the best, and those first 5 or 6 albums are the best, in my humble opinion. Rocks One SMF, I have some 40-year-old cassette tapes. Are you able to play them? Do they still work? Tim Farrell, not a King song, Man for Man. Yeah, that's right. The thing about that song, I think the reason I was thinking that was the Kinks is because I just remember that seemed like such a different style song than what that they were known for. So it was Man for Man who really became probably their biggest song was the Springsteen cover, Blinded by the Light. And it's so different than that sort of mid-60s sort of bebop song that. Read word, I appreciate the advice, Drugger John. You're welcome. Karen Ames says, I still have my vinyl from the 70s. I have, I've lost so much stuff. I don't think I have anything left from the 70s. I think it's all gone, which is a shame. I had a pretty good record collection. I had some from the 70s. I wish I still had them. Belfast Bob, was Van Halen the drummer with one hand after the car accident? No, that's Def Leppard. Belfast Bob. That would be Def Leppard. And Rock's One SMM put that in there too. That was Def Leppard. Look, Dragon, I also own Kiss Love Gun 8-track tape. That was awesome. Tim Farrell, exactly. Billy Strings. I like Shabuzi. That Shabuzi song comes on when I'm driving, and I'll be like, Shabuzi! Belfast Bob says, what you want to do with your life? I want to rock. Twisted fucking Sister. I want to rock! Yeah, that's a good song. I like those Twisted Sister songs. Rocks One SMF says, my first 8-track was Cheech and Chong Big Bamboo. I remember that album. I think one of my cousins had the album, the vinyl. I remember we would listen to that. So funny. Jolie, matured since then, laughing my ass off. I have, Jolie, I have. I'm very mature now. I'm a mature old man. Look, Dragon, don't text and drive. Absolutely, you should not do that. David Dog Pawn Shop. Talking about finding a cassette player, maybe. Yeah, maybe a pawn shop. I think I mentioned pawn shop. DPD 5844 says, what about Mariah Carey, TJ? Has her Christmas show begun? And would you consider going to one of her shows? I've seen advertisement for her Christmas show. I'm not sure if it started yet. I don't know the dates. But definitely they're getting close to starting up. Would I consider going to her shows? Not really. I'm not really into Mariah Carey. I think she's very talented. Has one of the most awesome voices in singing business. In the singing business. I'm not really into her music, So would I consider it? I might consider it, but I really don't have a desire to go to Mariah Carey. Kimchi, lead follower, get the fuck out of the way. Sorry, TJ, but fuck these non-driving idiots. I don't know what your fucking hurry is. What's your fucking hurry? What, you got to go to a fire? What, are you a fireman? Are you pregnant and your water broke and you got to get to the hospital? What the fuck is your fucking hurry? That's what I don't get. All these people in the fucking hurries. Just relax. If you're late, that's on you. That's not on me. If you should have left 15 minutes early. It's not on me. Because you're late. David Dog made it to the hotel. Says, we were at motel. Hope no one went in my room. Talk about paranoia. Kimchi's, no, they said dance music, exercise mix, and romantic. Ooh. Got the romantic one. David Dog says, I'll sleep good tonight. I actually remembered my IVAP machine. Is that like a CPAP machine? Kimchi, people get shot in traffic disagreements all the time. Don't leave the car. Hey, people just sitting in their car get shot. You could get shot by just sitting in your car. And it's so ridiculous. It's like a couple years ago on the Las Vegas Strip, an Uber driver had customers in his car, passengers. Apparently the lady ahead of him cut him off. They're at a red light. He gets out of his car, walks up to her car, starts pounding like a mad crazy man on her window. She pulls out a gun and shoots him. And I say, good for her. And she killed him. And No charges were brought up against her, and I say good for her. Finally, one of these ragers got what they deserved. Belfast Bob, the great old 8-track tape size of phone book, laughing out loud. Kimchi 8-track compilations were cool. Got a new one each week. Tim Farrell, we were at Nazareth Greatest Hits 8-track. I didn't even know Nazareth had greatest hits. They had one hit. Or two. Well, Love Hurts and Hair of the Dog, or whatever it was called. It was the world's shortest greatest hits album in the history of greatest hits albums. Had 2 songs on it. Mr. Spock is here. Lady, back to Lady Janka. Karen Ames. I believe my husband still has his portable 7-track player that he had in his 74 Pinto. Last I knew, it worked when he pulled it out of the Pinto. I've never even heard of a 7-track player. I don't even know what that is. Midas Cam is here. Hey, Midas Cam. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Midas Cam says, Trump bent the knee to Zoran Mondani. It looks like Mondani has the Bubba photographs or something on Trump. Zoran seems to be Trump's new best friend. It's kind of remarkable, isn't it? You know, it's like Trump is, I don't know, maybe that's his art of the deal. Art of the deal coming through, you know. Anyway, I'm going way over today. We're almost at 3 hours. And I should get going pretty soon. But I'm just enjoying your guys' comments. Thank you guys for the comments and for contributing to the chat. I do appreciate it. David Dog, poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. Exactly. Exactly. David Dog says, similar to CPAP, but CPAP is constant pressure and IVAP is variable pressure. Very interesting. But not stupid. But not stupid. Let me emphasize the word not. But not stupid. Egolf Twiller 8-track. Oh, typo. Okay. I should have figured that out. But I've heard of like 4 tracks, I guess. So I was thinking like 7-track? My bad. I should have figured that out. That was my bad. That was not your bad. That was my bad. And the 7 is right next to the 8, so I could see how that would happen. David Dog, Trump is all in with Muslims this month. Yeah. Midas Cam, it seems we are all here. I guess so. All 33 of us. Egog Twiller says, remember the Inagata da Vida, baby, 8-track with the big click track change in the middle of the drum solo? I remember there were so many 8-tracks where that would happen, and it would be one of their good songs, not just was it Iron Butterfly, but like I remember we had Three Dog Night or whatever, Paul McCartney, whatever. It seemed like there'd be a good song, and then it would be would change tracks or whatever, and right in the middle of the goddamn song. And I was always thinking, like, couldn't they have engineered that where they put the songs so that it wouldn't be changing right there, Couldn't they do that? I mean, I think they could have but I feel like they just didn't want to put the time into it. Mrs. Block, tough cookie, Elvis impersonation. Egol Twilly says 4-track was a normal cassette tape that recorded only on one side, giving 2 stereo tracks in a single direction for garage multi-tracking. Thank you, Golf Twitler, for that little informational bit there. Good to know. David Doug, I love that motel. The motel shares a parking lot with Dunkin'. I love iced Dunkin' latte. So there you go. Very convenient. Very convenient. Yeah. There you go. Very, very convenient. I like it when there's that type of convenience. Did someone request me? Huh? Is someone out there requesting a little tough cookie? Here we go. Tough cookie. Greatest hits. Love me tender. Love me true. Never let me go. Some people say I sound exactly like Elvis. Ain't nothing but a hound dog. He does sleeping all the time. Ain't nothing but a hound dog. He does sleeping all the time. Yeah, see there? I could probably go on the road with this. I could probably do my own Elvis impersonation. The fat cookie years. The fat cookie years of Elvis. I could probably do a Vegas stage act like right now, today. That's how good this shit is. That's right. Some good shit. But I'm too lazy. I don't really feel like doing it. I'm just too lazy. You know? I'm all shook up. Oh, yeah, there you go. How's that? How's that for a little tough cookie, Elvis? I'm all shook up. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for that. Yeah, but the thing, I don't know if I could do a 2-hour show before this beautiful voice. You know, my voice is my instrument. And I don't know. That'd be kind of tough to do that night after night, day after day. You know, it'd probably blow my voice out. I don't know. You know. In the ghetto. There you go. I know all the hits. I know them all. We can't go on with this suspicious mind. Yeah. Yeah, I know them all. I gotta go now. I gotta go gargle with some green tea or something. I think I blew something out. Probably shouldn't have done that. Paul, get over here. I'm done. I feel something right here. I feel a little something. I should have warmed up. I should have done some vocal exercises first. I shouldn't have just gone right into it. That's me though. That's tough cookie. You know, I just kind of go right into it. I don't do that warm up shit. Warming up is for pussies. And no one ever accused tough cookie of being a pussy. Let me tell you that much. Right now. Paul, get over here. Yeah, wow. Easy on those vocal cords, tough cookie. That was amazing though. I gotta say that was pretty amazing. I almost felt like Elvis was in the room with us for a minute there. I felt like Tough Cookie was definitely channeling the king for a minute there. I'm like, whoa. That is like Elvis during the Tough Cookie years, the fat Tough Cookie years. But yeah, take it easy, man. Those vocal cords, you only got one set of them, vocal cords, and once you blow them out, they're gone. So just be careful with that, Tough Cookie. Yeah, I suggest some sort of tea or something. I don't know. Anyhow, thanks guys for being here. I do appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. With that little purple heart there. That's my purple heart going out to you. I think whatever affected Tough Cookie's throat is affecting mine now. We'll do a little agua. A little agua. So anyhow, thanks so much, guys. If you haven't subscribed, now please consider hitting that subscription button. And there's a new thing called the hype. Hit the hype button. Find it. It's on there. I'm not even going to explain it. You guys got to find it. Let's play a little game. Find the hype button. If you guys found the hype button and you hyped it, let me know in the chat. Whoever finds the hype button and you do it, let me know in the chat if you found it. I'm just going to wait a minute here. I want to wait and see who finds the hype button. Who's the first one that's going to say they found the hype button? I'm looking down at the chat right now as we speak. Does anyone know even what I'm talking about? Have you guys seen this? A new thing from YouTube. I'm pretty sure everyone has it now. And you can hype the show. I'm waiting. Has anybody got it? No one has found the hype button? Do you guys not know about this hype button? I'm not seeing anyone. No, I can't believe it. You guys don't know about the hype button. Nobody. Wow. Okay, I guess I should tell you then. There's this new thing called the hype button. And if you look at where you're going to leave a comment, if you swipe it to the left, I believe, then there's the thing says, do you want to hype this? Now, I don't know. Is the hype on the live stream? No, that's a good question. I know it's on videos. Maybe it's not on the live streams. So I may have been out of line there. But if you do see the hype button and you're watching one of my videos, make sure you hit that hype button. Not my videos, Trucker John's videos. These are not my videos. These are Trucker John's videos. I'm just doing this as a favor to Trucker John to help promote his show for him. He's not very good at it, so someone's got to do it. About reminding people about the hype button. It helps get the thing out into the algorithm. It's a thing that YouTube has put together to help shows, small shows like Trucker John. Trucker John has a really small show, and it's supposed to help hype the show. So if you see the hype button, make sure you hit that button. Apparently, no one in the chat gives a royal fuck about the hype button because I have not seen one response in the chat room about the hype button. That's a shame. No one likes the hype button. We're going to have to do some work on that. Midas Cam, I can only see the hype button occasionally and randomly. Rocks, I see no hype. So maybe I misspoke. Maybe they don't have it for live streams. But I think they do. Because I thought I saw it on... I was watching Hal Sparks this morning. Truth be known. I'm a big Hal Sparks fan. I prefer Hal Sparks over Trucker John. Sorry. Trucker John's in the bathroom right now, so you can't even hear me. I prefer Hal Sparks immensely over Trucker John. I think he had a hype button. I hyped it. I used all my hypes. You only get 3, I think, in a week or something. I think I used all my hypes on Hal Sparks show. Isn't that funny? I used them all up, so I can't even use them for this show. I can't even go on my own channel and then watch Trucker John and hype them because I already used all of them. I used them all up for Hal Sparks. I think it's so funny. But anyhow, so be on the lookout. If you see the hype button and you're watching something from Trucker John, he's coming back. He's coming back in from the bathroom, so I gotta change my tune here. Yeah, I was just telling him, everybody, to hype the Trucker John show and how much better your show is than Hal Sparks. Anyhow, don't tell him I said that. Don't tell him what I did. Really said. Ego Twiller, Hal Sparks or one of his mods banned me. Oh, damn that! Damn them! Damn them all to hell! Hate that when that happens. Jolie says no hypes for live streams or shorts, just videos. Everyone, please hype TJ's intro clips. Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm saying thank you on behalf of Trucker John. They're awesome for sharing. That's a good one. That's a good advice there, Jolie. Yeah, I'll put my because it's kind of sad. I know the Trucker John spends hours and hours and hours on these intros. I don't even know. I keep telling him like, I think maybe you're putting a little too much time into this because the reward isn't that great. He'll put in hours and hours. I see him over there like editing and doing shit, and then it gets like 12 views. At what point do you say it's not worth it anymore? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you see one of those intros videos, watch it, like it, subscribe to it. It's just do it and hype it. Hype that motherfucker. You know, hype the shit out of it. Because those intros are pretty good, and they deserve to have they deserve to go viral as far as I'm concerned. They should get like millions and millions of views. Anyhow, I'm rambling, and you know what happens when we ramble? We are amblay. All right, guys. Anyhow, thanks so much for being here. I'm gonna go now, and we'll throw it back over to Trucker John. All right. Thank you, Paul, the purple beard guy. Thank you, Tough Cookie. I hope your voice is okay. He's over there. He's not looking too good. I think he blew out a vocal cord or something. Anyhow, again, thank you guys so much. I do appreciate you being here. You guys are awesome. We did it over 3 hours today. I'm surprised the batteries are still hanging on. We're still good to go. I think the microphone is still going. So, man, we got some good usage out of the batteries today. But thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys. Now, like I was saying, I think I'm going to cut down to doing just Tuesdays and Thursdays for a while. I might do Monday this week. Maybe we'll do Monday and Tuesday, and then I'm going to take the rest of the week off for Thanksgiving break, and then I'll come back the next week right after Thanksgiving, and I think I'm just going to do Tuesdays and Thursdays for a while, so I can concentrate really on doing my taxi driving. And because I'm getting behind in the bills, and I need to get out and get the driving. So we'll probably just cut back and just do Tuesdays and Thursdays, and probably Saturdays. Probably Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and that way I'll have more time to drive on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and whatever. But so I'll see you guys. But we'll see you. Monday's up in the air. I'm not sure. Monday might not be a show. But be on the lookout just in case. And then Tuesday for sure we'll do a show. And then, like I said, then we'll take the week off for Thanksgiving. Jolie says, you're helping to fight for democracy, Trucker John. Always worth it. Thank you, Jolie. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here and helping out. You and Aaron. I think Aaron may have taken off. I don't know. Were we ever at full amount capacity? I don't think we were. But Aaron and Jolie, thank you so much for being here and helping out. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Enjoyed talking with you, and I always enjoy talking with you guys. I really do. Even sometimes if I get a little is cantankerous a word? If not, it's gonna be now. But yeah, look at there. Let me take off these pictures now. Let's see here. It's time for the words of wisdom, guys. Guys. I just had to. Don't pay attention to what's off to the side of the camera. Anyhow, so yeah, guys, time for the words of wisdom. You might want to get a pad and pen out and write this down. That's how good this shit is. Make a little book out of it. Today's Trucker John words of wisdom are as follows. Are you ready? Okay, so guys, first of all, for today's words of wisdom, just remember to.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hostile of Easter, baby, the show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid, but doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream, this is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye, the show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry, we're all gonna come back and meet again.
Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep, broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food and movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright, but now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. My apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free.
So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to
about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love, it's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye. See you later.
Yes! Yes! Woo! The Dodgers won! The Dodgers won! Yes! Yes! Woo-hoo-hoo! Dodgers won the World Series! Woo! Yeah! Yeah! Yeah, Clayton, yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh my God! Oh my God, that was the most amazing World Series ever. Dodgers!